Have you ever stopped on a clear night, looked up at the endless stars, and wondered, why am I even here? That feeling, that deep question, is something people have asked for thousands of years. It's about more than just where you are physically. It's about the very purpose of your life. Why do we exist? Is there a big reason for it all, like a grand plan we're part of? Or do we create our own reasons as we go along, like writing a story as you live it? This question, sometimes called the meaning of life, has puzzled thinkers across time. Think about ancient Greek philosophers like Aristotle, who believed our purpose might be found in living a good, virtuous life. Or consider older wisdom from places like India or China, where people sought meaning through spiritual practices or by living in harmony with nature. They wrestled with this same idea, wondering if life had a set goal, like a tree growing towards the sun, or if it was more like an empty canvas waiting for us to paint on it. For many, understanding this question was seen as the key to living a truly full life. Imagine you're playing a video game. Sometimes, the game has a very clear mission: save the princess, win the race. You know exactly what you're supposed to do. But what if a game had no instructions at all? No clear goal? You'd have to figure out what you wanted to do in that world, right? Maybe you'd explore, build things, or just try to have fun your own way. Life can feel a bit like that second kind of game, where the goals aren't always handed to us. And here's the thing, there isn't one single easy answer to why are we here. That's okay. In fact, maybe the beauty isn't in finding one big answer that fits everyone. Maybe it's in the asking itself, in the journey of exploring and discovering. It's about finding what feels meaningful to you in your own small corner of this huge, amazing universe. It's about how you choose to live each day, the kindness you show, the new things you learn, and the connections you make with others. Those choices, small as they seem, can build your own sense of purpose, day by day. Your life is your own unique story, and you get to decide what it's about. Have you ever felt that strong pull, that wish to belong? Maybe you've seen others laughing, and you wish you could join them, feeling accepted. This feeling is normal. We all want to fit in sometimes to find our place. But here's the thing. Does trying to fit in mean you have to change who you truly are? When we talk about fitting in, it often means changing to match what others expect. Maybe you dress a certain way, or talk about things you don't care about. Losing yourself happens when you push away your own thoughts or interests just to be accepted. It's like dimming your own light so you don't stand out. For a long time, humans have felt this struggle. In ancient times, being part of a group was about survival. If you were cast out, it was dangerous. So, there was pressure to fit in. But even then, some thinkers wondered about being real. Philosophers asked, how do you stay true to yourself when others want you to be different? They called this authenticity, being genuine, true to who you are. It means not putting on a mask. Think about a chameleon. It changes its skin color to blend in with its world, right? It does this to survive. People can do something similar. They might change their personality to blend with a group. They might laugh at jokes they don't find funny, or pretend to like music they don't enjoy. But unlike the chameleon, which goes back to its color, people sometimes forget their true color. So it's not bad to fit in. Sometimes we find people who like us for who we are, and that's great. But the real question is, are you changing so much that you don't recognize yourself anymore? Keeping your core self is important. It's about finding that balance, being open to others but also staying uniquely you. Have you ever looked up at the night sky full of a million stars and felt just a little bit tiny? That feeling, that sense of being a small dot in an enormous universe, is what we call feeling small in a big world. It's not necessarily a bad feeling. It's more about realizing how huge everything else is compared to us. Think about how many people live on Earth, or how many grains of sand are on a beach. It's like a quiet whisper telling us, you are part of something much, much bigger. Humans have felt this way for thousands of years. Ancient stargazers, for example, would look up at the vastness and wonder about their place. A long time ago, a French thinker named Blaise Pascal talked about how we are just a reed, a fragile plant in the face of the universe. But he also said we are a thinking reed. This means even if we're small, our ability to wonder and think about our smallness makes us special. He wasn't saying we're unimportant, but rather that our minds make us amazing, even when faced with something so huge. Imagine you're standing on a mountain, looking out at miles and miles of trees, rivers, and distant towns. You can see so far, and suddenly your everyday worries might seem a little smaller, a little less important in that huge view. Or think about looking at a tiny ant carrying a crumb. The ant is small, but it's doing its important work in its giant world. We are like that ant, doing our part in our own way. So when that feeling of being small comes, it's not meant to make you feel bad. It's actually an invitation. It can make you feel curious, maybe a little bit in awe. It can remind you that you are part of something truly grand, and that itself is pretty incredible. It can help you see your own life in a bigger picture, showing you how connected you are to everything else, the stars above and the earth below. It's a quiet moment, a gentle nudge to wonder about the mystery of it all. We often chase happiness, don't we? It feels like the main thing everyone wants. We see ads promising happiness if we buy something new, or we scroll through social media and see everyone looking joyful. It's easy to believe that if we're not feeling happy all the time, something is wrong. But here's the thing. Is a life truly successful only if we are happy every second? Sometimes, when we talk about life goals, we think of happiness as the ultimate prize. But what if life is about more than just a feeling? What if it's about something deeper, something that lasts even when joy isn't right there? Long ago, even ancient thinkers, like the Greek philosopher Aristotle, thought about this. They weren't just focused on feeling good. They talked about living well or flourishing. This idea wasn't about being joyful every single moment. It was about living a life with purpose, using your talents, and being a good person. It meant building a life that feels rich and full, even when things are hard. That kind of life includes moments of happiness, sure, but it's not the only point. Think about a time you worked really hard on something difficult. Maybe it was practicing a new skill, like learning a tough piece of music on an instrument, or getting ready for a big sports competition. It might have felt tiring or even frustrating at times. You probably weren't full of pure joy in those tough moments. But when you finally played that song perfectly, or you made that amazing play, you felt something truly powerful. It wasn't just simple happiness. It was pride, a sense of accomplishment, and growth. That feeling came from pushing through discomfort and challenge. So maybe happiness is like a wonderful, sunny day. It comes, it goes, and is beautiful when it's here. But perhaps a meaningful life is more like building a strong, interesting house. It takes work, it has different rooms, and it can shelter you through all kinds of weather. Maybe the real goal isn't just to feel happy, but to live a life full of meaning, growth, and genuine connection, even when it's tough. What's real and what's just online? Have you ever looked at your phone and wondered if what you see there is truly real in the same way a hug from a friend or the smell of rain is? It's a big question we all think about now. Our brains are amazing. They try to make sense of everything. When we're online talking to friends, watching videos, or playing games, or minds often treat those experiences as if they're happening. The feelings we get, like joy or frustration, feel very real. This creates a blurry line between our physical world and the digital one. People have thought about what's real for thousands of years. The philosopher Plato told a story, the allegory of the cave. He imagined people only seeing shadows on a cave wall. They thought these shadows were real. Plato asked, what if there's a vibrant world outside? Our screens are a bit like that cave wall. We see reflections of lives or made-up worlds. Sometimes, we forget there's a real world just beyond the screen. Think about a perfectly edited photo online versus the messy, real moment it came from. The photo looks perfect, but the real moment had laughter, maybe a spill. Both are real in different ways, but one is a polished version. Understanding what's real online and in front of us matters. Our online lives are part of us, but real sunshine, a friend's voice, or your favorite food, these connect us deeply. That tangible experience is powerful. It helps us stay grounded and remember the full, rich picture of being alive. Have you ever stood in front of a giant wall of snacks or opened a streaming app with a million shows and suddenly felt tired? Like your brain just couldn't make one more decision? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? We usually think more choices mean more freedom, more happiness. But sometimes, too many options can feel like a heavy weight, leaving us stuck or even a little sad. This feeling, where having too many choices becomes overwhelming instead of helpful, is something thinkers have wondered about for ages. For a long time, people believed that the more options we had, the better our lives would be. If you could pick any job, any food, any path, surely that was true freedom. And that makes sense, right? Back in ancient times, or even just 100 years ago, most people had far fewer choices about their daily lives. Your village, your family, your job, these things were often set for you. Life was simpler in that way. But here's the thing. Today, we're swimming in choices. Think about choosing a pair of sneakers. It used to be just a few types. Now, there are hundreds of brands, colors, styles, and purposes. Basketball shoes, running shoes, fashion shoes, high tops, low tops, eco-friendly ones. It's not just about picking a shoe you like. It's about navigating a vast sea of possibilities. This can sometimes lead to what some call the paradox of choice. A paradox is like a puzzle that seems to contradict itself. Here, the puzzle is that having total freedom, having every single option open to us, can actually make us feel less free. It can make us doubt our decisions, worry we made the wrong pick, or even just give up and pick nothing at all. Learning to live with this endless stream of options, to choose with a calm heart, is one of the quiet challenges of our modern world. Sometimes the wisest choice is simply to choose well, not to choose everything. Do you ever look at the path ahead, the one that leads from childhood to something new, and feel a quiet flutter in your chest? It's not a scream or a loud panic. It's more like a whisper, a soft question in your mind. What comes next? This feeling, this unsaid worry about becoming an adult, is what we call the quiet fear of growing up. It's about leaving behind what's familiar and stepping into the unknown. Think of it this way. For a long time, your world has had clear rules. You go to school, you learn, you play. Adults make many big decisions, but growing up means those lines start to blur. You begin to make more choices. You face bigger challenges. And that can feel a bit overwhelming, even when it's also exciting. People have felt this way for thousands of years. Thinkers from ancient times often wondered about life's journey. They talked about how every stage has its own purpose and its own struggles. Stories from all over the world feature young heroes who must leave their safe homes to find their own way. These stories show us that moving from childhood to adulthood is a universal challenge, a natural part of life that comes with both bravery and a little bit of fear. It's simply part of being human. Consider a tiny seed nestled deep in the earth. It's safe there, surrounded by soil. But to become a strong tree, it has to break out, push through the dirt, and face the sky, the wind, and the sun. That first push must feel like a huge effort, a leap into something entirely new. The seed doesn't know exactly what the tree will look like or what storms it will face, but it grows anyway. This quiet fear isn't a weakness. It's a sign that you understand the bigness of life and the amazing journey you're on. It's okay to feel a little unsure about the future, because with every step you take, you are growing, learning, and building the incredible person you are becoming. It's a question that has quietly tugged at human hearts for thousands of years. Why do good people suffer? You see someone kind, someone who always tries to do the right thing, and then something awful happens to them. A pet gets sick. A family member faces hardship. It just feels wrong, doesn't it? This feeling is about fairness. We often expect life to be like a reward system. Good actions should lead to good results. But here's the thing. Life doesn't always work that way. This question has puzzled people for ages. Ancient thinkers, even figures in old stories like Job, struggled with it. They asked, if the world is fair, why is there so much pain? Some thought it was a test, or a mystery we just can't understand. Others, like ancient Greek philosophers, saw it as part of life's unpredictable nature, or fate, things that just happen. Think about a strong, healthy tree. It gives shade and fruit to everyone, but then a sudden storm, a powerful gust of wind, or a wildfire can bring it down. These events aren't caused by the tree's goodness or badness. The storm isn't punishing the tree, it's just a force of nature. In the same way, many things in life, from illnesses to accidents, aren't handed out based on whether you're a good person or not. They are often just parts of how the world works. This doesn't make it easy, but here's what I found. While we may never fully understand why some things happen, we can choose how we respond. We can choose kindness, support, and hope, even when the world feels unfair. It reminds us that goodness isn't about avoiding pain, but about how we live through it and how we care for each other when storms come. Have you ever woken up and just wondered, really deep down, if you're okay as you are? Like, not if you got a good grade or won a game, but if the real you inside is enough? This feeling, this question of, am I good enough deep down, is a very old human puzzle. It's not about how many likes you get or if you fit in with a certain group. It's about your own sense of worth, your inner value. It asks if you believe you are worthy of love, kindness, and happiness just for existing. It's about whether you feel okay with who you are without having to prove anything. Long ago, thinkers like the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates believed that truly knowing yourself was super important. He thought if you understood your own inner thoughts and feelings, you could live a better life. Many wise people across history and different cultures have talked about finding peace within yourself and recognizing that every person has value just because they are a living, breathing human being. They weren't focused on what jobs people had or how much money they made. Instead, they focused on what made people good and kind. Think about a tree. It doesn't try to be a different kind of tree. An oak tree just is an oak tree. It grows, it produces leaves, it stands tall. It doesn't compare itself to a maple or a pine. It doesn't need to earn its right to exist. It simply is good enough as an oak. In the same way, we humans, each of us are like unique trees. We have our own roots, our own growth, our own kind of leaves. Our value isn't something we have to earn like a prize. It's something we are born with. So, when that quiet question whispers, am I good enough? Maybe the answer is simpler than we think. Perhaps the deepest truth is that you are and always have been truly good enough exactly as you are. Your worth isn't a test you pass or fail. It's just a quiet, unchanging fact about you. Have you ever tried to just sit still, maybe before bed, and found your mind keeps going and going? It's not just a few thoughts. It's like an endless stream of worries, plans, and replays. This constant internal chatter, thoughts that never truly stop, that's the constant noise we're talking about. Here's the thing. Our minds are always working. They think about what we need to do, what we said, what we wish we'd said. It's like a dozen radio stations playing inside your head at once, and you can't turn them off. This isn't just about being distracted. It's how our brains naturally process everything. People noticed this internal buzz thousands of years ago. Ancient thinkers from places like India and Greece, and wise teachers, all knew how hard it is to quiet the mind. They understood this noise could make it tough to truly be present or find inner peace. Think about meditation. It's an old practice where you try to notice thoughts without getting caught up. The idea isn't to stop thinking, but to see thoughts float by, like clouds. Imagine your brain is like a web browser with many tabs open. Each tab is a thought, homework, a friend's comment, what's for dinner. Even when you're focused on one thing, those other tabs are still running. This makes your brain feel very busy, sometimes overwhelmed. It makes it hard to focus or just enjoy a quiet moment. So, this constant inner noise is a natural part of being human. It's not something to fight. Instead, it's something we can learn to understand. Knowing it's there and simply observing it can be the first step. This helps you find more calm. You are more than just a noise. You are also the quiet space watching it. Think about your day. You pick out clothes, decide what to eat, choose to study, or maybe play a game. It feels like you're completely in charge, right? But are you really free to make all those choices? Or are there hidden forces at work? This big question is about free will. That's the idea that we control our own actions and decisions. It means our choices aren't just pre-programmed. They aren't forced by things outside us. It feels like we could always choose differently at any moment. Like you could have picked the banana instead of the apple simply because you wanted to. For thousands of years, people have thought about this. Ancient Greek thinkers wondered if everything was already decided by fate. Was there a master plan for you, and you just followed it? Other thinkers believed humans had a special power to decide their own path. They said our minds can truly pick between options. Even today, some scientists look at our brains and wonder, are our choices just chemicals firing? Or are we pushed by things like our past experiences, or even our genes? Here's an example. Imagine you're about to pick an apple or a banana for a snack. You feel like you chose the apple, but what if you picked it because you saw a friend eat one earlier? Or maybe you just like apples more because of something your family always bought when you were little. Was that a totally free choice? Or were you influenced by things you didn't even notice? It makes you wonder if our feelings or past events are secretly pulling some strings. So, the question isn't easy to answer. It makes us think about how much control we truly have. Maybe it's not about being totally free or totally controlled. Perhaps it's somewhere in between. We might not be completely free from influences, but maybe we can still choose how we react to them. It's a deep puzzle that helps us understand ourselves and our place in the world a little better. Have you ever walked out of the school doors at the end of the day? That feeling of relief mixes with a tiny bit of what's next. It's not just about homework or friends, it's about something bigger. What really happens when the bells stop ringing and the structured day is done? This question touches on an existential dilemma. It's not just about what you do, but why you do it and what it all means. It's about the open time not planned for you. It's about the choices you start to make. Once school is over, the path isn't as clear for many. It becomes a blank page. You become the main author. This can feel exciting, but also a little scary, right? People have wondered about this after school feeling for thousands of years. Long before schools existed, ancient thinkers like Socrates asked deep questions about what it means to live a good life once daily tasks were done. They didn't have bells, but they had to figure out what to do with their time. They knew true living began when you started asking, what's next for me? Think of your school day as a guided tour. You follow the path, learn about the exhibits, but when the tour ends, you step outside. The whole city is there. You get to choose where to go next. Will you explore a new park? Learn a new skill? The choices are suddenly yours. Like a plant reaching for the sun, you are naturally growing and looking for what's next, seeking your own light. So what happens after school? Is more than just a question about afternoon plans. It's a quiet invitation to think about your own path, your own choices, and the endless possibilities that unfold every single day. It reminds us that even in ordinary moments, there's a chance to discover something new about ourselves. And that's pretty cool to think about. Have you ever been surrounded by people, maybe in a busy school hallway or at a lively family gathering, and still felt a quiet ache of being utterly alone? That's loneliness. It's not just about being physically by yourself. It's a deeper feeling, a sense of disconnection, like a missing piece that leaves you feeling unseen or unheard, even when others are nearby. It's a quiet whisper in your heart that longs for understanding. For centuries, humans lived in small villages or tight-knit family groups. Everyone knew their neighbors, helped each other, and shared life's burdens and joys. The Greek thinker Aristotle, way back in ancient times, said humans are social animals and need friends and community to truly thrive. He knew we are built for connection. But here's the thing. Today, we often live in big cities, or our lives are so busy that we don't always know the people next door. We might have hundreds of online friends, but still lack those deep face-to-face bonds that make us feel truly connected. Think about being online. You're seeing dozens of pictures and posts from people you know, maybe even chatting. But are you truly with them? Sometimes that endless scroll can make us feel more isolated, like watching a party from outside the window. It's like being in a huge, crowded room, but everyone is looking at their own screen and no one is really making eye contact with you. So, is loneliness more common now? Maybe. Our modern world offers amazing ways to connect, but also new ways to feel separate. What matters is remembering that this feeling, though tough, is a shared human experience. It's a gentle nudge to seek out genuine connections, to truly listen, and to let ourselves be truly seen. Because in the end, we all long for a place to belong, a hand to hold, and a heart that understands. Have you ever felt like there's a quiet hum inside you? A feeling you should always be doing something? Maybe you just finished homework, but then you think about practicing an instrument, or cleaning your room, or checking social media. It's like a whisper telling you that simply relaxing isn't quite right. This is the pressure to always be busy. It's the powerful idea that being productive every moment is the best way to live. We often feel if we're not doing something, we're not trying hard enough, or we're missing out. It's a feeling that ties our worth to how much we get done. For a long time, people worked from sunrise to sunset just to survive. They farmed, built, and made things. Later, during the Industrial Revolution, factories started. Time became money. The faster you worked, the more you produced. So, busyness became a sign of success. But here's the thing. Old thinkers, like the Roman philosopher Seneca, believed quiet time for thinking was important. They said it made you wiser. It's kind of like a smartphone that's always got apps running in the background. Even if you're not actively using them, they're draining the battery. Our minds can be like that. We fill schedules with school, sports, clubs, and then more like scrolling through feeds. We rarely let our mental apps close down. But what happens when we never stop? What if truly resting isn't lazy, but a brave and necessary thing? Maybe it's in those quiet moments when we aren't trying to do anything that our best ideas surface, or we understand ourselves better. It's a chance to just exist, to breathe, and to let our minds simply wander. And that's a very important kind of work too. Have you ever thought about how many labels we all carry? Things like tall, short, smart, athletic, quiet, or funny. Sometimes these words are just simple descriptions, but other times they can feel like a heavy jacket, defining who we are and maybe even limiting what we think we can be. Here's the thing. A label is just a word or a short phrase that groups things or people together. It's like a shortcut for our brains to understand the world. From the time we're very young, people give us labels. He's a good helper. She's a fast runner. These labels can help us fit in, or they can make us feel stuck. For a long, long time, thinkers have wondered about this. Way back in ancient Greece, philosophers like Plato questioned if our true self was what other people saw or called us, or if it was something deeper inside that no label could truly capture. They wondered if we were just actors playing parts, or if there was an authentic us underneath all the roles and names. They thought maybe our real identity was something more fluid, always growing and changing, not something fixed by a single word. Think about a puzzle piece. It has a certain shape, right? It might be labeled corner piece or edge piece, but that shape is just one small part of the whole picture. If you're called the artsy kid at school, maybe you truly love art, but does that label stop you from being great at math or trying out for the debate team? No way. It's just one piece of your huge, amazing puzzle. So, while labels can be helpful for quick understanding, they rarely tell the whole story. Your identity is like a massive, beautiful forest, not just a single tree. You are always growing, always changing, and always more than any one word can ever describe. It's good to remember that no label can ever fully hold the incredible, unique person you are. Have you ever stopped, really stopped, and truly noticed something small and ordinary? Maybe the way sunlight hits a dust mote dancing in the air, or the specific way your favorite sweater feels when you put it on. It's easy to think that true meaning, the big important stuff of life, only comes from huge achievements or grand adventures. But here's the thing. What if the deepest kind of meaning is actually found in the quiet, everyday moments, in the little things we often overlook? This idea of finding deep richness in what seems ordinary isn't new. People throughout history have explored it. Ancient thinkers, like a group called the Stoics, who lived a very long time ago, believed that a big part of living a good life was about being present. They focused on appreciating simple joys and finding peace within themselves, no matter what big things were happening around them. They understood that happiness wasn't just about getting what you want, but about truly seeing and being thankful for what you already have, especially the small, constant gifts of life. Think about the simple act of drinking a glass of cool water when you're really thirsty. It's just water, right? But in that moment, it can feel like the most perfect thing. Or imagine listening to the rain tap against your window, just focusing on the sound, letting it calm you. Maybe it's the warm comfort of a pet curled up next to you, or the smell of freshly baked cookies. These aren't huge, earth-shattering events, but if you let yourself truly experience them without rushing, they can bring a surprising sense of calm, connection, or even a quiet kind of wonder. And that's why it matters. When we take the time to notice and appreciate these little things, it changes how we see our whole world. It reminds us that life isn't just a race to the next big goal. It's also about the quiet magic hidden in every single day. By noticing the small, beautiful details, we weave a richer, fuller life, one tiny, meaningful moment at a time. Have you ever stopped to really think about how nothing stays the same? The sun sets and rises, seasons shift, you grow taller, and your favorite songs change. It's a bit like life is a river that never stops flowing. We stand on its banks, but the water we see, one moment is gone, the next, replaced by new water. This constant movement, this endless shifting, that's what we mean by change. It's when something stops being one way and becomes another way. For thousands of years, people have wondered about this. An ancient Greek thinker named Heraclitus once famously said, "You can never step into the same river twice." He meant it literally because new water is always flowing, but also deeper than that. He believed that everything is always in motion, always changing. Even you. You are not the exact same person you were yesterday, or even 5 minutes ago. Your body is always renewing itself. Your thoughts are always moving. Your experiences are always building up. Think about a tree outside your window. In spring, it's bursting with fresh green leaves. By summer, they're dark and full. In fall, they turn brilliant colors and then drop off. And in winter, it stands bare. It's still the same tree, but it looks and acts completely different depending on the time of year. This cycle isn't just happening to trees. It's happening everywhere, all the time. It's a fundamental part of nature, and it's also a fundamental part of our lives. So, why does everything change? Maybe it's just the way the universe works, always growing, always moving. It can feel a little strange sometimes, even a little sad when things you love change or pass. But here's the thing, change also brings newness, new chances, and new growth. It means that hard times don't last forever, and there's always a chance for something wonderful to begin. Have you ever felt a strange sense of recognition when your phone suggests something to you? Like a song you might love, or a show you just talked about? It's not magic, but it can feel that way sometimes. See, your phone and the apps on it are always learning about you. They track what you click, what you watch, what you search for. This information builds a kind of digital portrait of you. It's like your phone is gathering tiny puzzle pieces of your habits, your interests, even your moods. For a long time, only our closest friends or family knew us well enough to guess our next move or what we'd like. Think about how a good friend knows your favorite ice cream flavor without asking. This idea of knowing someone's patterns isn't new. People have always tried to understand the world around them by seeing patterns like how farmers learn the best time to plant crops or sailors read the ocean currents. But now, it's not a friend or even a human doing the guessing. It's an algorithm, a set of rules that computers follow, processing tons of information about you really fast. So when YouTube suggests another video you can't resist, or an online store shows you the perfect hoodie, it's because the algorithms have built a profile. They've seen your patterns, like how you always watch videos about space, or how you click on certain clothing styles. It's a mirror of your digital self, showing you back what it thinks you are. This brings up a deep question. What does it mean when something non-human seems to understand our preferences so well? Does it help us find new things, or does it narrow our world by only showing us what we already like? It's a quiet thought to hold, that the small device in our pocket might just know us in ways we don't always realize, asking us to think about who we are when our habits are so clearly mapped. Have you ever felt like you're trying to tell someone something super important, but it just doesn't land right? Like you're speaking, and they're hearing words, but they aren't truly getting what you mean or how you feel? This feeling, this deep question, is about whether anyone truly understands the real you inside. It's not just about hearing what you say. It's about grasping your feelings, your hidden thoughts, and even the things you don't speak out loud. It's about feeling totally seen and accepted for who you are. People have wondered about this for a very long time. Thousands of years ago, thinkers like the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates believed that truly knowing yourself was the first step. But even then, they knew how hard it was to fully step into another person's mind and see the world exactly as they do. It's like how we all look at the same blue sky, but maybe your blue feels a little different inside your head than my blue. It's a challenge of human connection. Think about it like this. Imagine you had a really wild, amazing dream. You try to tell your friend every detail, the strange colors, the flying, the funny conversations. You use all the words you know, and your friend listens, but they weren't in the dream. They can't feel the wonder or the weirdness the way you did. There's a little gap between your experience and their understanding. That gap is natural. We all carry our own unique experiences and secret worlds inside us. So, while it's okay to wonder if anyone fully understands you, remember that the effort to connect, to share, and to try to see others is a big part of what makes us human. It's a journey we're all on, trying to bridge those little gaps between our inner worlds. Have you ever scrolled through your phone, maybe Instagram or TikTok, and seen pictures or videos of your friends laughing, having fun at an event you weren't at? Or maybe they're trying a new restaurant or playing a cool game, and you feel a little pang in your chest. That feeling, that small, almost secret worry, is what we call the quiet fear of missing out. It's not a loud, screaming panic. Instead, it's a soft, nagging feeling that something good is happening, and you're not there. It's like a whisper telling you that everyone else is living a more exciting life than you are right now. This feeling isn't brand new, even if the phrase FOMO is. For thousands of years, humans have wanted to belong. We're wired to be social creatures. Back in ancient times, being part of the group, knowing what was happening, could mean safety and survival. Missing out literally meant being left behind, maybe even in danger. But today, with phones and social media, we see constant updates about everyone, everywhere. It's like having a window into countless different rooms all at once. This constant stream of information can make that ancient fear of being excluded feel much bigger, because now you can see exactly what you're missing. Think about it like this. Imagine you're watching a game, maybe a soccer match or a video game stream. You see all the exciting plays, the goals, the wins, but you're just watching. You're not on the field, not part of the action. That small disconnect, that wish to be part of the excitement, is a lot like the quiet fear of missing out. You see the highlight reel of others' lives, not the quiet, everyday moments. Here's the thing, it's okay to not be everywhere all the time. Real life is happening right where you are, in the moments you choose to be present in. It's about finding joy in your own experiences, not comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. Every moment you spend worrying about what you're missing is a moment you're missing out on your own life. So maybe put the phone down, look around, and find the good in what's right in front of you. Have you ever looked at what others want or what the world seems to celebrate and felt your own hopes were not quite as grand? It's a quiet worry, isn't it? This feeling that maybe your dreams, the simple ones, the personal ones, the ones that make your heart happy, aren't big enough. We often hear about chasing huge goals, changing the world, or reaching for the stars. And sometimes, this makes us wonder if dreaming about, say, becoming a great baker, or a kind neighbor, or just finding real peace in your own life is somehow less important. For a very long time, people have thought about what makes a good life. Ancient thinkers, like the Greek philosopher Epicurus, believed that true happiness often comes from simple pleasures and a calm mind, not from endless wanting or famous achievements. He felt that seeking inner peace and good friendships was more valuable than striving for massive power or wealth. The idea wasn't about being small, but about finding enough. It suggests that what truly matters is not the size of your impact, but the quality of your life and the peace you find within it. Think about a quiet, steady stream. It doesn't roar like a giant waterfall or carve canyons like a mighty river, but it still gives life to everything around it. It waters plants, provides a home for tiny creatures, and eventually flows into something bigger. Its purpose isn't about being huge, but about being consistent and vital in its own way. Your dreams, no matter how quiet, can be like that stream. So maybe the real question isn't about how big your dream is, but how true it is to you. Perhaps the most important dreams are the ones that simply make you feel whole, that fill your days with meaning, and that quietly make the world around you a little bit better, one small, steady step at a time. There's real power and real beauty in finding your own enough. Have you ever stopped on a clear night, looked up at the endless stars, and felt incredibly small, yet also strangely connected? It's a feeling many people share, this quiet wonder about something beyond our everyday lives. When we talk about believing in something bigger, we're not always talking about one specific religion or set of rules. Instead, it's often about a deep sense that there's more to existence than just what we can see, touch, or understand with our minds. It's a feeling of awe, a sense of purpose that reaches beyond ourselves. Think about it like this. When you watch a tiny seed grow into a towering tree, or when you see the incredible patterns of a spider web, there's a kind of wonder there. It's like knowing there's an amazing, unseen force or design at work. For thousands of years, humans have felt this pull. Ancient people, gazing at the same stars we do, created stories and beliefs to explain the sun, the moon, the seasons. They built massive structures like the pyramids or Stonehenge, not just as buildings, but as places that connected them to forces they felt were larger than life, gods, spirits, or the very flow of nature. Philosophers, people who love to think deeply, have also spent centuries asking big questions about the universe's purpose or if there's a deeper truth guiding everything. This feeling isn't just old history. It happens today when a scientist marvels at the complex beauty of a cell under a microscope, or when someone feels a deep calm watching the ocean waves. It's the sense that we are part of something vast and ancient, a story that began long before us and will continue long after. This belief, whatever form it takes, can bring comfort. It can give meaning to tough times. It reminds us that even when we feel alone, we belong to something incredible, something mysterious and grand. It's like being a single note in a vast, beautiful song that never truly ends. Have you ever looked at the news or just around and felt like things were off, like the world felt broken? This isn't a new feeling. It's that deep sense that things aren't right, that big problems seem too vast, and unfairness is everywhere. It's like an old vase, beautiful but with many cracks, showing its wear. People have felt this for thousands of years. Ancient thinkers like the Stoics noticed life has things we can't control, challenges or bad decisions. They knew struggle was part of being human, but they also understood this: we choose how we react. It's not about ignoring the cracks, but recognizing what we can and can't change inside ourselves. Think about your favorite building toy. Sometimes you build something, but a piece breaks or leans wrong. It feels broken, right? But the whole set isn't useless. You can fix that part or build something new with the pieces, finding fresh beauty. So when the world feels full of glitches and big problems, it can be overwhelming. But just like you fix a toy, we can work on our small part. We choose how to see the broken bits. We can try to make things better where we can, or find peace knowing that even with flaws, there's still beauty and connection. It's about accepting what is, then finding your own way to help build something better, starting with yourself. And that's why it matters. Have you ever just sat still, maybe looking out a window, and felt a little guilty? Like you should be doing something productive? In our world, it really feels like we always need to be doing. We're busy with school, homework, sports, video games, or planning what's next. There's a lot of pressure to achieve, to get good grades, to be skilled, or to constantly improve ourselves. But here's the thing. What if for a moment you didn't have to do any of that? What if it was completely okay to simply exist? This idea of just being asks a big question. Is our worth tied only to what we accomplish or what we produce? Or is there real value in simply existing, in being truly present in the moment without a specific goal? People throughout history, in different cultures, have thought about this. Ancient Greek philosophers, for example, talked about something called contemplation. This wasn't about work or winning, it was about quiet time for deep thought, just understanding the world and yourself. They saw this kind of thoughtful being as a very important part of life. It was a way to find a deeper kind of happiness, not from what you had, but from who you were. Think about a tree in a park. It doesn't do anything to be a tree. It just is. It grows, it stands tall, it provides shade. It doesn't try harder to be a better tree. It simply exists, holding its quiet beauty. We sometimes forget we can be like that tree. We spend so much energy trying to do things, to prove ourselves, that we forget we can simply be. We forget to just breathe, to notice the quiet hum of life around us, or the feel of the sun on our skin without needing a reason. So, is it truly okay to just be? Maybe the point isn't to stop doing everything, but to find quiet moments where your purpose isn't about achieving something, but about simply existing. It's about giving yourself permission to just be yourself, exactly as you are, right now, without needing to impress anyone or check off a task. It's a reminder that your value isn't just in what you do, but in the quiet, wonderful fact that you are. Have you ever looked back at something you did, maybe a careless word you spoke or a choice that seemed small at the time, and realized its shadow still falls on you today? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? This is what we mean by the echo of past mistakes. It's not just about feeling bad or guilty. It's about how actions from our past, especially the ones we wish we could undo, continue to ripple through our lives, shaping our present and even our future. Think of it like dropping a pebble into a calm pond. The splash happens quickly, but the ripples spread outward, reaching the edges of the pond long after the pebble has settled. Our past mistakes are like that pebble. The initial act is over, but its effects, its echoes can linger. Sometimes these echoes are loud, like losing trust because you weren't honest. Other times, they are faint whispers, a quiet knowing that something could have been different. Philosophers across history have thought about this. Ancient thinkers, like the Greek Stoics, believe that our actions have consequences, whether we intend them or not. They understood that every choice leaves a mark, not just on the world around us, but on our own character. It's a bit like the idea of cause and effect. Every cause has an effect, and those effects can build upon each other over time. If a river is dammed up years ago, even after the dam is gone, the river might flow differently or have carved a new path because of that old blockage. That old dam, even removed, still echoes in the river's current path. Understanding this echo isn't meant to make us feel stuck in the past. Instead, it's a quiet invitation to reflect. It shows us the power of our choices, reminding us that even small decisions can have long-lasting effects. And in seeing these echoes, we gain wisdom, learning not to repeat the same missteps, and perhaps finding ways to make the future sound a little more harmonious. The past can't be changed, but its echoes can teach us how to build a stronger, more thoughtful tomorrow. Have you ever stood at a crossroads where one path felt smooth and easy and the other rough and challenging? Maybe it was about doing what everyone else was doing, even if it felt a little wrong, versus standing alone to do what you knew was truly right. That feeling is a classic human dilemma, the pull between what's simple and what has integrity. It's about making a choice that might be harder in the short term, but builds a stronger, truer you over time. It's not always about big, dramatic moments. Sometimes it's in quiet decisions, like admitting a mistake even when it's embarrassing, or speaking up when something unfair happens, even if it makes you unpopular. For centuries, great thinkers have puzzled over this. Ancient Greek philosophers like Plato and Aristotle often wrote about this. They believed that true happiness wasn't about seeking comfort or pleasure all the time. Instead, it came from living a good, meaningful life, which often meant choosing the difficult but honorable path. They understood that being truly human meant facing these tough choices and picking what was right, not just what was easy. It's an old challenge, as old as people thinking about how to live well. Imagine you're working on a group project for school. It's late, you're tired, and you see a way to cut corners, to just copy something from online or let your teammates do all the heavy lifting. The easy choice is to relax, do the minimum, or even fake it. But the right choice is to push through, contribute your best work, and ensure everyone learns fairly, even if it means less sleep or more effort. You might feel a quiet sense of pride afterwards, a feeling that you truly earned it. This act, choosing the harder right over the easier wrong, builds a kind of inner strength. It's like training a muscle. Each time you pick the path of integrity, you become a little bit stronger, a little more confident in your own moral compass. It's not about being perfect, but about trying often to align your actions with your deepest sense of what is good. And that, in itself, is a powerful way to live. Have you ever been in a quiet room, maybe just sitting by yourself, and instead of feeling peaceful, you start to feel a strange, heavy ache? It's not sadness, exactly, but a deep sense of being disconnected, even if you just saw your friends or family. This feeling, when solitude turns into something else, something heavier, is a real and common part of modern life. Being alone can be good, right? It gives you space to think, to chill, to just be you. But there's a difference between choosing to be alone and feeling completely isolated, like you're on an island. That's when being by yourself starts to feel heavy. It's like everyone else is talking, laughing, or just existing, and you're watching from behind a thick, invisible pane of glass. For thousands of years, people have thought about this. Ancient Greek thinkers like Aristotle believed humans are social animals, meaning we're naturally wired to live in groups and connect with others. We need each other to thrive. Later, some philosophers, like those who explored existentialism, talked about how each person is truly unique and, in a way, faces life's biggest questions all on their own. This can be powerful, but it also highlights that sense of individual aloneness that can sometimes weigh us down. It's like we each have our own personal journey, and sometimes that road feels long and empty. Think about it like this. Imagine you're at a huge concert or a school dance. There are hundreds of people around you, music playing, everyone moving, but maybe you don't know anyone, or you feel awkward, and suddenly, even with all that noise and activity, you feel incredibly alone. It's a strange feeling, being surrounded by so many, yet feeling deeply separate. This isn't just about being shy. It's about a deeper human need for belonging and understanding that sometimes isn't met, no matter how many people are nearby. So, if being alone sometimes feels heavy for you, know that you're not the only one. This feeling reminds us of how much we need each other. It's a quiet signal that we're searching for connection, or maybe that we're grappling with big questions about our place in this vast, complicated world. And sometimes, just knowing that this heavy feeling is a shared human experience can make it feel a little lighter. Do you ever feel like your brain is just constantly buzzing? Like there's always something new to learn, or see, or hear, and it never stops? This feeling is part of living in the endless stream of information. It's like we live in an ocean of facts, stories, and opinions, all rushing at us at once. Every time you open your phone, turn on the television, or even just walk by a screen, new information pours in. For most of human history, information was a rare and precious thing. People lived in smaller worlds. News traveled slowly, often by word of mouth, taking weeks or months to reach far places. When the printing press was invented hundreds of years ago, it was a huge step. Books became more common, and more people could read. But even then, you had to seek out information. It didn't just chase you down. Ancient Greek thinkers like Socrates weren't worried about too much information. They worried about not understanding what they knew. They believed true wisdom came from deep questioning and thinking, not just collecting facts. Imagine what they think of our world today. Think about your social media feed. Every scroll brings new posts, new videos, new articles, or even just watching the news. It's a never-ending stream of updates from around the world. It's like standing under a waterfall of knowledge and trying to catch every single drop. You just can't. So, this endless stream brings up a big question. How do we make sense of it all? How do we find what's true or what really matters when so much is calling for our attention? Maybe the challenge now isn't about getting information, but about learning to choose what we pay attention to. It's about finding quiet moments to truly think, instead of just reacting to the next thing. It's about remembering that knowing more doesn't always mean knowing better. Have you ever looked up at the night sky, seeing all those countless stars, and felt really small? Like what you say or do in this giant, busy world might not even be noticed. It's a feeling many people have. When we ask, does my voice even matter? We're really wondering if our thoughts, feelings, and actions have any real impact. We're asking if our unique self makes a difference in the big picture of things. Here's the thing. For most of history, only a few powerful people truly had a voice that was heard by many. Kings, queens, leaders, or great thinkers. Most people just lived their lives, often without much say in the big decisions. But then, slowly, ideas started to change. Think about ancient Greece, where democracy began, allowing citizens a voice in how things were run. Or later, during the Enlightenment, philosophers like John Locke talked about how every person has natural rights, suggesting each individual holds importance. This wasn't about shouting the loudest, but about the very idea that you, as an individual, count. Imagine you're part of a huge school play. Every person, whether they have a big speaking role or just stand in the background, adds to the scene. If one person isn't there or doesn't do their part, the whole picture shifts a little. You might not notice exactly what's missing, but the performance isn't quite the same. Your voice, whether it's a whisper in a conversation or a brave idea shared in class, works like that. It's a unique note in the world's big song. So yes, your voice matters. It might not always change everything overnight, but it adds to the whole. It creates tiny ripples that spread out, touching other people, shaping ideas, and changing the world in ways you might not even see. Your thoughts, your kindness, your honest questions, these are all parts of your voice, and they contribute to the steady, quiet power of existence. Have you ever looked at the path ahead and felt like you were standing before a giant, empty page? It's not just a blank piece of paper. It's like a whole book waiting to be written. This feeling that the future is wide open and completely undefined can be a bit strange. It's the idea that tomorrow, next year, or even 10 years from now isn't already figured out. There's no script written for you. It's just empty space. For a long time, people thought destiny or fate played a huge role in their lives. The ancient Greeks, for example, often believed that powerful gods spun the threads of human life, deciding what would happen. So your future was kind of predetermined. You might try to change things, but often the story was already set. It was like reading a book where the ending was already printed, even if you hadn't reached it yet. But over time, thinkers started to focus more on human choice. They began to wonder, what if we are the ones holding the pen? This idea that we have real freedom to make our own choices and shape our lives became a powerful thought. It means we're not just actors in a play already written, we're also the writers, directors, and even the stage designers. Think about it like this. Imagine you just got a brand new sketchbook. The pages are crisp and clean. You could draw anything, create any scene. That's how the future can feel. It's not just a scary unknown, it's an invitation. This blankness means endless possibilities. You get to decide what colors to use, what story to tell, and that in itself is a truly amazing, maybe even beautiful thought. It's about recognizing that you hold the pen ready to create the next page of your own unique story. Voice over. Have you ever posted something online, a picture, a video, a thought, and then found yourself checking your phone again and again, waiting for that little heart, that thumbs up, that comment? It's a pretty common feeling, isn't it? We put a piece of ourselves out there, and then we hope for a positive reaction. But here's the thing. Sometimes it feels like those likes become the main goal. It's like we're collecting them almost as if they tell us how much we're worth. This feeling, this push to get approval from others isn't new. For a long time, philosophers and thinkers have talked about how much we care about what other people think. Back in ancient Greece, for example, people in cities like Athens cared a lot about their reputation. A good name meant trust and respect in their community. Think about it. If someone was known for being honest and brave, they would be looked up to. If they were seen as lazy or dishonest, it was hard to get by. So people often tried to act in ways that would earn them good standing with others. They were seeking a kind of social approval, not so different from our likes today, but in person, and that's why it matters now. When you see a famous person with millions of followers, or even a friend who gets hundreds of likes on a post, it can feel like a competition. It's a bit like a student who studies really hard just to get an A on a test, not because they truly love learning the subject. The A becomes the main prize. But what happens if the A doesn't come? Or if the likes don't show up? Do we start to feel less good about ourselves, even if what we shared was meaningful to us? It makes you wonder, are we letting outside numbers decide how we feel about ourselves? Maybe the real challenge isn't about getting more likes, but about finding a way to truly like who we are, even without the world's applause. Have you ever found yourself looking at something someone else has, a new phone, a skill they're good at, or even just an easier path, and felt a little pang of longing? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? We might have plenty, or be perfectly happy, but suddenly, the thing we don't have seems like the key to everything. This wanting for what's out of reach is a deep part of being human. Here's the thing. Often, the idea of having something is more perfect than actually getting it. Our minds are good at filling in the blanks, making the unknown seem shiny and flawless. When we don't have something, we only see its best parts, its imagined benefits. We don't see the problems that might come with it, or how quickly we might get used to it. It's like we forget that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Sometimes, it's just a different shade of green, with its own weeds. For a very long time, thinkers have noticed this about people. Ancient philosophers talked about how our desires can lead to unhappiness if we always focus on what we lack. They observed that humans naturally look for more, always reaching for the next thing. This isn't just about stuff. It can be about wanting a different life, a different feeling, or even just being someone else. Think about a new video game everyone is talking about. You watch trailers, read reviews, and imagine how amazing it will be. You want it so badly, but then you get the game. And while it's fun, that first intense longing often fades. Soon, your eyes might wander to the next big release, or a friend's cool new gaming setup. It's a cycle. This longing for what we don't have isn't necessarily bad. It can push us to grow, to learn, to create. But understanding this natural human tendency helps us. It reminds us that true happiness usually isn't found in endlessly chasing the next thing. Instead, it's often in appreciating the journey and finding peace and joy in the things we already have right now. Have you ever looked at an old toy, a picture from years ago, and felt a tiny wave of something bittersweet? Like it was a memory from a different, simpler life? That feeling, that gentle pull, is often what we mean by saying goodbye to childhood. It's not a sudden event, like closing a door forever. It's more like a slow, quiet unfolding. Imagine a tiny seed. It doesn't just instantly become a giant tree. It sprouts, grows roots, then a stem, then branches. Each stage is necessary. And each stage means the seed it once was is gone, but something bigger and more complex has taken its place. Saying goodbye to childhood is about realizing that the world you lived in, with its clear rules and safe boundaries, is starting to stretch and blur. You begin to see things in shades of gray, not just black and white. Your questions get bigger, and sometimes the answers aren't so easy to find. It's when you start understanding that grown-ups don't know everything, and maybe, just maybe, you're becoming someone who has to figure out more for yourself. For a long time, across many cultures, people understood this big change. Ancient societies had rites of passage, special ceremonies, or challenges that marked the moment a young person moved from childhood to adulthood. These weren't just parties. They were serious moments meant to show the community and the young person themselves that a big shift had happened. We don't always have those clear ceremonies today, but the feeling of stepping across that invisible line, of taking on new thoughts and feelings, is something everyone experiences. Think about a river. When it's a small stream, it's playful and quick, rushing over pebbles. But as it flows, it gets wider, deeper, sometimes slower. It still carries the same water, but its journey changes its character. It carries more, sees more, and affects more. This transition from childhood is much the same. You're still you, but you're becoming a version of yourself that can carry more ideas, feel deeper emotions, and navigate a bigger world. This farewell isn't about losing everything. It's about making room. It's about holding on to the good parts of who you were like a strong foundation while building something new on top. It's a journey from innocence to understanding, and it's one of the most important adventures you'll ever take. Have you ever felt like you're carrying something invisible, yet incredibly heavy? Like a backpack filled with stones you can't see, only feel their constant drag? This feeling often comes from the weight of big expectations. It's that deep pressure on your shoulders, not just from what others want you to be, but sometimes from what you think you should be. Maybe it's your parents hoping for straight A's, or your coach expecting you to be the star player, or maybe it's just seeing perfect lives on social media, feeling like you need to be just as perfect all the time. Here's the thing. This isn't a new feeling. Humans have carried this burden for thousands of years. Think about ancient kings or queens. They were born with the expectation to rule well, to be brave, to protect their people. It wasn't about if they wanted to, but that it was their destiny and duty. Even old philosophers talked about what society expects, and the heavy load of living up to ideals like honor. They knew that sometimes chasing these grand ideas could feel like a heavy chain, pulling you in directions you didn't choose. Imagine a tiny acorn. It has the amazing potential to grow into a tall, strong oak tree. But what if we told that acorn it had to become the tallest, strongest tree in the entire forest by tomorrow? That's too much pressure for a little acorn. It might not even sprout, or it might struggle and break under that impossible demand. And that's how it is for us. We have our own natural paths, our own strengths, and our own unique timelines for growth. So, here's what I found. It's perfectly okay to feel this pressure. It's a natural part of being human, growing up in a world with many ideas about success. But understanding this feeling, recognizing where the pressure comes from, can make it feel a little lighter. Our true value isn't just measured by how many expectations we meet or how perfectly we perform. It's found in the quiet strength of who we are right now as we are. We are more than the sum of what others want us to be, and that is a powerful thought. VO. Have you ever stopped to wonder what truth really means? We use the word all the time. Is that true? Tell me the truth. But if you really think about it, what is truth, truly? It's not always a simple answer. Truth is what is real and genuine, standing up to careful checking. But sometimes what feels true to one person might seem different to another. Is the sky blue? Yes, that's an easy truth. But is it always right to tell someone exactly what you think? Even if it hurts their feelings, truth can get tangled there. People have puzzled over truth for thousands of years. Ancient Greek thinkers like Plato wondered if what we see is the whole truth, or if a deeper reality exists. They knew truth wasn't just facts, but how we make sense of our world. Others asked if our minds truly grasp what's real, or if our experiences shape what we understand. Think about a time you and a friend remembered the same event differently. Your truth of what happened might not completely line up with theirs. Was one of you wrong? Not necessarily. Sometimes, truth has different sides, depending on who sees it. Your view is shaped by feelings and experiences. It's not just about what is, but also how we know it. So maybe truth isn't just one perfect thing, waiting like a lost coin. Instead, it might be more like a long path. It's the honest effort to see clearly, listen to others, and keep asking questions about what we believe. And through this ongoing journey, we start to understand not just facts, but also a deeper meaning about life and each other. Have you ever stood at a crossroads where no one else was going your way? Maybe you had to choose a project or a book, and your friends were picking something different. What happens when the path ahead isn't clear, and you're the only one listening to your own inner voice? This feeling, this quiet journey, is about finding your own path alone. It doesn't mean being lonely or cutting yourself off. It means truly listening to what you believe, what you value, and what makes your heart sing. It's about making choices that fit you, even when they seem different. Think of it like a compass. Everyone else might point north, but if your true north is east, this is about trusting your own needle. People have thought about this for ages. Ancient thinkers, like a wise Greek man named Socrates, believed it was important to know thyself, to truly understand your own mind. Much later, an American writer named Ralph Waldo Emerson talked about self-reliance. He meant trusting your own ideas instead of just following the crowd. They understood that while we learn from others, our deepest truths come from inside us. It's a lot like a seed pushing through the soil. The seed doesn't ask other seeds how it should grow. It just follows its own unique design, pushing towards the light, creating its own roots and branches. This is what finding your path alone feels like. You're not trying to be like anyone else. You're just growing into the truest version of you. So this quiet journey of walking your own way isn't about isolation. It's about building a strong, clear sense of who you are, apart from what others might expect. It's a powerful and deeply personal adventure. Every step you take by yourself makes you more confident, more complete. It helps you become the person you are meant to be. Have you ever found yourself lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about tomorrow, or maybe next week, or even next year? That quiet feeling of unease, that little knot in your stomach when you picture what's coming. This is the worry about what's next. A very human feeling of being anxious about the future, about the things we can't yet see or control. It's not just about huge life changes, but also about simple things, like waiting for a test result, wondering what middle school will be like, or what new friends you'll make. Here's the thing. Humans have always worried about what's next. Think about people living thousands of years ago. They worried about finding food for winter, or if the weather would turn bad. Their worries were about survival. Our brains are built to predict things and keep us safe. So we naturally try to guess what's coming so we can prepare. Over time, as our lives changed, so did our worries. Ancient thinkers, like the Stoics in Greece and Rome, talked a lot about this. They believed that while we can't control everything that happens, we can control how we react to it. They suggested focusing on the present moment, on what's right in front of us, instead of getting lost in worries about what might be. Imagine waiting for your grades to come out after a big test. You've done all you can, but that feeling of dread or excitement about what's next can feel overwhelming. You can't change the grade now, but your mind still races. That's your brain trying to prepare you for any outcome. It's a natural process, but sometimes it just runs a bit too fast. It's okay to feel this way. It's part of being human. But here's what helps. We can choose to focus on the step we're taking right now. The future isn't written in stone. Each small step we take today, each choice we make, helps to build what comes next. So when the worry about what's next creeps in, maybe take a deep breath and just focus on being present, right here, right now. Have you ever looked at an old photo of yourself and thought, wow, I was so different back then? Or maybe you were sure you'd react one way to something, but then you did the exact opposite? It makes you wonder, do we ever really know who we are deep down? Here's the thing. Knowing yourself means understanding your true thoughts, your deepest feelings, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, and why you do the things you do. It's not just knowing your favorite color or what kind of music you like. It's about understanding the hidden parts, the quiet voices inside your head that sometimes only you can hear. This question isn't new. Thousands of years ago, a famous Greek philosopher named Socrates said, "Know thyself." He meant that figuring out who you truly are is super important, maybe the most important thing. He believed it was the very first step toward true wisdom. And even today, psychologists study how our minds work, and they find that we often have blind spots about ourselves. We might think we're really patient, for example, but then a small inconvenience makes us totally lose our cool. Think about it like this. Imagine your mind is a big, old house. You might live in the main rooms knowing them well, but maybe there are dusty attics or forgotten basements you haven't explored yet. These are parts of you that only show up when you're under pressure, or when you learn something new, or when you meet different people. You might discover a hidden talent you didn't know you had, or a strength you didn't realize was there until you faced a tough challenge. So maybe truly knowing yourself isn't like reaching the end of a map. Instead, it's more like a never-ending journey. As we grow, learn, and experience new things, different parts of us come to light. It's a journey of quiet discovery, always unfolding, always surprising, and that's okay. It means there's always more to learn about the most interesting person you know, you. Have you ever looked at someone else's life, maybe on social media, and felt like your own just didn't measure up? That little pang in your stomach, that thought, their life looks so much better than mine? This feeling comes from a deeply human tendency, the constant need to compare. Here's the thing, we're wired to do this. Comparing means looking at ourselves next to others to figure out where we stand. It's like using someone else as a mirror to see our own reflection, but often it's a warped mirror. We see what they have, what they do, or even just how they seem, and then we measure our own worth against it. This isn't a new problem. Think way back even to ancient times. Early humans likely compared themselves to others in their tribe who was the best hunter, who was the strongest. It wasn't about likes on a post, but it was about survival and figuring out your place in the group. Greek thinkers like Aristotle understood that humans are social creatures. We learn by watching each other, and part of that watching is comparing. For a long time, comparing helped us improve, to see a standard and reach for it. But today, with so much information, it's like a never-ending feed of comparisons. You might see a classmate's amazing vacation photos, and suddenly your perfectly fine weekend at home feels boring. Or you hear about someone else's great grades and start questioning your own effort. It's like being in a race where you're always looking sideways at other runners instead of focusing on your own path. While comparing can sometimes push us to do better, it often makes us feel not good enough, even when we are. The real challenge is to remember that everyone is on their own unique journey. It's about finding peace with who you are right now, while still growing, and understanding that real growth comes from looking inward, not just outward. Have you ever felt a little lost, maybe like you were supposed to have all the answers, or that everyone else knows something you don't? Here's the thing. Sometimes not knowing is not just okay, but it's actually a powerful starting point. It's about being comfortable with uncertainty, with the big open questions of life. It means admitting that we don't have a perfect map for every journey, and that's completely fine. Sometimes the most honest and true answer we can give is, I don't know. This idea isn't new. Thousands of years ago, a famous Greek thinker named Socrates was known for saying something like, the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. He wasn't saying he was unintelligent. What he meant was that the more you learn, the more you realize how much there is still to learn. Great thinkers through history, from ancient philosophers wondering about the stars to scientists exploring the human mind, often started their biggest discoveries from a place of not knowing. They didn't see it as a failure, they saw it as an invitation to explore. Think about a time you tried to learn a new skill, like playing an instrument or solving a complicated puzzle. You didn't start out knowing everything, right? You probably made mistakes, felt unsure, and had to ask questions or just experiment. That feeling of, I don't know how this works yet, is what pushes you to practice, to try new ways, and eventually to figure it out. Not knowing is like the fuel for curiosity. It opens the door to asking, to searching, and to truly understanding something in a deeper way. So, it's more than okay to not know. It's a brave and humble place to be. It means your mind is open, ready to learn, and willing to be surprised. It leaves room for wonder and for new possibilities to unfold. And that's a beautiful thing. Have you ever just stopped and wondered, truly wondered, what makes a day or even your whole life feel worth it? It's a big question, right? When we ask what makes a life worth living, we're really thinking about purpose, happiness, and meaning. It's about what gives our time on earth value, making us feel like our existence truly matters. For thousands of years, people have wrestled with this. Ancient Greek thinkers like Aristotle talked about eudaimonia not just being happy, but truly flourishing. They believed it came from using your strengths and helping others. Some later thought it was about joy. Others searched for truth, or a connection to something bigger, like nature or a spiritual path. Every culture has sought this deep sense of a life well lived. Think about building something like a cool Lego castle that took hours, or finally mastering a difficult song on an instrument. It's not just the finished product, it's the effort, the small victories, the moments you figure things out. That feeling of accomplishment, of having created or learned something, gives it meaning. Or like when you help a friend having a tough time and see their genuine smile, that moment feels good, feels right, adding something special to your day. So here's the thing, there isn't one single answer for everyone. What makes life worth living is often deeply personal, something we discover little by little through our experiences. It might come from doing good, learning new things, connecting with family and friends, or just appreciating simple beauty. It's a quiet feeling that what you're doing or who you are matters. This question stays with us, guiding us as we grow and change. Have you ever noticed that tiny pause? That moment right after your phone buzzes, you check the message or picture, and then a small quiet. It's a flickering space before you do anything else. You just read or saw something, and for a split second, there's nothing but that new piece of information settling in your mind. This isn't just about your phone, it's a specific kind of modern quiet. The brief hush that follows any alert, any chime, any vibration telling you something new arrived. It's that instant you stop doing and start processing whatever came in. Your brain just got a burst of new data, and now it's taking a quiet breath, a moment to register, before it decides what's next, whether to respond, scroll, or simply let it go. It's a space for internal feeling before external action. Long before our screens lit up, people still experience these pauses. Imagine ancient times. A messenger bird returns, carrying news. The quiet that falls as someone reads the parchment, the deep breath taken as the words sink in, that was a powerful silence. Or think about waiting for a letter that traveled for weeks. When it finally arrived, you'd open it, read carefully, and for a moment, you'd just be there with the news, feeling its weight, before picking up a pen. Philosophers like Seneca, a wise thinker from ancient Rome, often wrote about how valuable silence and quiet reflection are. They believe taking these moments helps us understand ourselves and the world better instead of just rushing. For them, silence wasn't empty. It was a rich space for true thought. Think of it like a scientist in a lab. They add one chemical to another, and there's a fizz or color change. But right after that initial reaction, there's a moment of stillness in the test tube, a settling before anything else happens. That brief calm is like the silence after a notification. It's a quick, quiet breath that lets you truly take in what just occurred. So, this little moment of quiet, this tiny pause, is actually a small, often overlooked gift. It's a chance to just be, to breathe, to truly feel and think about what you just saw or heard before you react. It's an invitation to feel more grounded, even for a second, in our often super busy world. It's a quiet space where you can choose how you want to be. Have you ever felt like the world is just a bit too much? Like there's a constant buzzing in your head, filled with news, social media, and a million different things all happening at once? That feeling, where everything seems too big, too fast, or too complicated, is what we call feeling overwhelmed. It's like your brain is trying to hold too many thoughts, too many worries, and too much information all at once, and it starts to spill over. In our modern world, information rushes at us from everywhere, global events, endless online posts, so many choices to make. It's a very different experience from how things used to be. Think about people who lived hundreds or thousands of years ago. They didn't have news channels or the internet. Their world felt smaller, more immediate. They worried about their village, their family, or maybe a nearby danger. They didn't have constant updates about every single thing happening everywhere else on Earth. Even ancient thinkers, like the Greek philosophers, spent a lot of time talking about finding peace of mind or tranquility. They knew the world could be chaotic and unpredictable, so they searched for ways to keep their minds steady and not let outside troubles shake them too much. The feeling of being too much isn't new, but the reasons we feel it today are often very different. It's a bit like trying to catch water from a fire hose with a small cup. There's just too much coming at you, too fast. You can't possibly hold it all. Maybe you feel this when you scroll through social media and see all the perfect lives, or when the news talks about huge global problems and you wonder what one person can even do, or even just balancing school, friends, family, and future plans. It's a lot to process. So, feeling swamped sometimes is a very human experience. It's not a sign that you're weak or not smart enough. It's just a natural response from a brain that's trying to make sense of a truly enormous world. And that's okay. When it happens, maybe the answer isn't to try and hold every drop of that water. Instead, it might be to find a moment to just set the cup down, to breathe, to remember that it's okay to not know everything, and it's okay to just focus on what's right in front of you, one small step at a time. Finding these quiet moments can help you feel more steady, even when the world keeps buzzing. It's a funny question, isn't it? Because often we just feel what's normal, like wearing jeans to school or eating dinner with your family around a table. But have you ever stopped to really think about who actually set those ideas, or why they feel so natural to us? It's a bit like the air we breathe. We don't notice it until someone asks us to. Here's the thing. Normal isn't some fixed, unchanging law of the universe. It's more like a story we all agree on, shaped by the people around us, where they live, when they live, and what they believe. Think about it. What's totally normal in one country might be really unusual in another. Or what was completely normal 100 years ago might seem totally weird today. For a long time, thinkers and philosophers have looked at this idea. They've noticed how rules about how we should act, dress, or even think are often decided by powerful groups, or simply by what most people do. It's like a quiet agreement we all fall into without realizing it. For example, back in the day, being left-handed was often seen as wrong or strange. Teachers would even try to make kids use their right hand because that was the normal way. But now, nobody even blinks an eye. Our understanding of normal shifted little by little. So, who decides? Often, it's society itself, over time. It's the whispers of culture, the quiet weight of tradition, and sometimes the louder voices of those in charge. But knowing this can be really powerful. It reminds us that normal isn't always right or fair or even the best way. It's just common for now. This idea lets us breathe. It reminds us that if you feel a little different or your way of seeing things doesn't quite fit the normal box, that's more than okay. It's human. And sometimes, it's those very differences that help us see new paths, create new art, or imagine a better world. The normal of tomorrow might just be what we, today, bravely decide to be. Have you ever felt a quiet hum inside you? A little whisper that tells you everything you do needs to be just right, flawless even? Maybe no one ever says it out loud, but you still feel this invisible weight, this expectation to always get things perfectly correct, to look perfectly put together, or to always say the perfect thing. That feeling, that's the hidden pressure to be perfect. It's not always about someone else demanding it. Often, it's an idea that grows inside us, a silent rule we set for ourselves. We start believing we must be completely without error. It's like an unspoken agreement with ourselves. I must not mess up. And that's why it matters, because this quiet pressure can make us feel tired, stressed, and never quite good enough. For a long time, people thought about perfect a bit differently. Ancient thinkers like the old Greek philosophers looked for balance and excellence. They wanted to be good at things, but they also knew that mistakes were part of being human. They saw a kind of beauty in a life that was lived fully, even with its bumps and flaws. They weren't trying to make everything look shiny and impossible. But here's the problem. Today, with phones and social media, we see carefully chosen pictures and stories everywhere. Everyone seems to have a perfect life online. Think about scrolling through your phone. You see friends posting amazing vacation photos, perfect grades, or incredible talents. They probably just shared the best parts, but our brains can trick us into thinking that's their whole life, all the time. It's like looking at only the most polished gem in a collection and thinking all stones should shine like that. This can make us feel like we have to hide our own struggles, or that we need to be just as polished every single day. But here's the thing, real life and real people are not perfect. They are messy, changing, and growing. True strength isn't about being flawless, it's about being brave enough to try, to make mistakes, and to learn from them. The real beauty in life often comes from the little imperfections, the unique way something is, or the journey of getting better. You are valuable not because you are perfect, but because you are you. Have you ever just sat quietly, perhaps looking out a window, and thought, what am I even supposed to do with my life? It's a big question, right? This feeling, this worry about not finding your purpose is something nearly everyone wonders about. It's like trying to figure out your special job in the big story of the world. It's about finding something deeply meaningful, something that makes you feel alive and useful. For thousands of years, people have asked this. Ancient Greek thinkers, like the philosopher Aristotle, believed everyone had a telos, which means an ultimate aim. He thought finding this was key to eudaimonia, true human flourishing. Think of it like a plant growing into its fullest, most beautiful self. They imagined each person was born with a specific potential, like a seed that knows what kind of tree it's meant to become. Now, imagine you're building a huge Lego castle. You have all these pieces, and at first, you might not know where every single one goes. You try fitting a block here, then there. Some pieces click right away, others you have to turn and try different spots. The purpose of a Lego piece isn't just decided when it's made. It becomes clear as you build and discover its place. And sometimes, you might even use a piece in a creative way. Not exactly by the instructions, but it still works. Here's the thing. Maybe purpose isn't just one big perfect thing you have to find, like a hidden treasure map. What if purpose is something you build little by little, day by day? It could be a collection of small, meaningful acts, being kind, learning a new skill, helping a friend, making art, or simply living with honesty. Your purpose can change as you grow, just like you might build different things with the same Legos. And sometimes, the real purpose isn't about finding the answer, but in the brave, curious journey of asking the question itself. It's okay to explore, to try things, and to slowly discover what feels right for you, one piece at a time. The search itself helps you grow. Have you ever looked around a crowded room, like a cafeteria or a bus, and noticed how many people are looking down at their phones? It's a common sight now, like a quiet, glowing bubble around everyone. This feeling, this experience, is living in the shadow of screens. It's about how digital screens on our phones, computers, and TVs have become a huge, constant part of our lives, changing how we see the world, how we learn, and even how we connect. Think about it. Centuries ago, long before the internet or electricity, human connection was simple, direct. People spent hours talking face to face, telling stories, or playing outside. Ancient thinkers like the Greek philosopher Plato often talked about the real world versus shadows or reflections. He imagined people watching shadows on a cave wall, believing them to be reality, instead of turning around to see the true objects. Our digital lives can sometimes feel like that, looking at versions of reality on a screen, instead of being fully present, feeling others right beside us. Our attention often feels split. One part is here, but another is always checking a notification, scrolling feeds, or watching a video. Imagine you're at a family dinner. You're physically there at the table, but maybe your mind is still caught up in a game, or you're checking messages under the table. You nod and smile, but your focus is elsewhere. It's like your true self is pulled between two places. This constant pull between the real world and the screen world can feel like living with a thin, shimmering veil between you and everything else. This isn't about saying screens are bad, because they help us connect with people far away, and they teach us amazing things. But it's a quiet question. When so much of our attention is drawn to the bright, flickering rectangles, what beautiful, fleeting moments of real life are we gently overlooking? Are we truly seeing the world, or just seeing its reflection? It makes you wonder what it means to be truly here, fully present in our own lives, when a whole other world is always just a tap away. Have you ever felt lonely, even when you're surrounded by friends? Or maybe you have many online followers, but no one truly gets you? That quiet feeling inside, wondering if anyone really sees the real you, that's part of our search for real connection. So, what is real connection? It's more than just knowing a name or seeing posts. It's when two people truly understand each other, deep down. It's about trust, sharing honest thoughts without fear. It's about being seen and truly seeing others. It's a bridge built with empathy and shared moments. We've always needed deep bonds. Ancient thinkers, like the Greek philosopher Aristotle, talked about how the best friendships are about truly caring for another person's well-being. He called this a friendship of virtue. This idea of meaningful connection isn't new. is a core part of what makes us human. But here's the thing about modern life. Our phones and social media connect us constantly. We can text, chat, and share stories, and that's useful. But sometimes it feels like we're just broadcasting, not truly listening. It's like many shallow puddles instead of one deep well. Imagine building a strong tower with toy blocks. You can stack them, but if they don't click firmly, the tower wobbles. Real connection is those blocks clicking into place. It's when your thoughts and feelings truly fit, creating something strong. It's a feeling of truly belonging, of being known. Finding this kind of connection takes time and courage. It asks us to be ourselves, to listen, and to share parts of our inner world. But when you find it, it's powerful. It makes life feel richer, less lonely, more meaningful. It's a quiet reminder, even in a big, busy world, you are not alone. Have you ever stopped to wonder if the path your life takes is already written somewhere, like a story waiting to unfold? We make choices every day, what to wear, what to eat, who to talk to, but sometimes big things happen that we never planned. So, is that fate? When we talk about fate, we're exploring the idea that everything that happens to us, every joy, every challenge, every unexpected turn, is somehow meant to be. It's like believing there's a grand design, a cosmic script, that guides our journey from beginning to end. It means our future isn't just up to our choices, but also to something bigger, something predetermined. This idea isn't new at all. Thousands of years ago, the ancient Greeks thought deeply about this. They imagined powerful goddesses called the Fates. These goddesses supposedly spun a thread for every single person's life, measuring its length and deciding when it would be cut. This meant that certain events, like when and how you'd meet someone important, or even when your life would end, were already set in stone. Think about it like this. Imagine you miss your usual bus to school by just a second. You feel annoyed, but then, because you're on the next bus, you bump into someone new who ends up becoming a great friend. Was missing that first bus just a random accident, or was it fate, making sure you were exactly where you needed to be to meet that person? Here's the thing. It makes us wonder how much control we truly have over our lives. Do our choices really change anything? Or are we just following a path that's already laid out? The beauty isn't in finding a simple answer, because there isn't one. Instead, it's in gently holding the question, recognizing that life feels like a mix. We make our own choices, yes, but sometimes mysterious events unfold that feel bigger than us, reminding us that there's still so much we don't fully understand about the dance between choice and destiny. When you hear the word courage, what comes to mind? Is it always about big, heroic acts like someone running into a burning building? Or is it something quieter, more personal? Here's the thing. Courage isn't about not feeling scared. It's about feeling fear, maybe even really scared, but still choosing to act. It's about facing something difficult even when your stomach does flip. It's like a small, steady light you carry inside, guiding you through the dark. For centuries, thinkers have explored what courage truly means. Ancient Greeks, like Aristotle, saw it not just as physical bravery, but as a balanced strength. They believed true courage wasn't being reckless, rushing into danger without thought, nor was it always running away. Instead, it was finding the right path between those extremes. They understood that courage often meant moral strength, standing up for what's right, even when it's unpopular or hard. It was about having the inner strength to live by your values. Think about something simple, admitting you made a mistake. Maybe you said something unkind, and a part of you just wants to keep quiet, but then you choose to say, "I'm sorry, I was wrong." That quiet act, that moment of honesty, even when it feels embarrassing, that is courage. It's not about fighting a dragon. It's about conquering your own fear of judgment. It's about being true to yourself, even when it's hard. So, courage isn't always a loud shout. Sometimes it's a quiet whisper at the end of the day saying, "I'll try again tomorrow." It's the gentle push to take one more step, even when you feel like giving up. It's a quiet strength that builds inside us, one small, brave choice at a time. And that's why it matters. It helps us grow, learn, and stay true to ourselves no matter what. Have you ever worried that one day, long after you're gone, no one will remember your name or recall anything you did? It's a quiet worry, this idea of simply vanishing from memory, like a ripple in water that fades away. This feeling, this deep-seated concern, is the fear of being forgotten. It's not just about famous people. It's about anyone wanting their life to matter, to leave some kind of mark. Think about it this way. For thousands of years, people have tried to beat this feeling. The ancient Egyptians built massive pyramids, huge stone structures meant to last forever, so their pharaohs would be remembered. The ancient Greeks had a concept called kleos, which meant undying glory or fame. Heroes wanted to be remembered through their brave deeds, so their stories would be told for generations. They understood that being remembered felt like a kind of immortality. In a way, it was a fight against time, a way to make sure their existence wasn't completely erased. It's a very human feeling, wanting to be significant. Like when you work really hard on a project for school and you hope your teacher notices your effort, or when you share something special with a friend and you hope they'll always remember that moment. When we think about what a legacy means, it's not always grand statues or big books. Sometimes it's just the kindness we shared, the laughter we created, or the way we made someone else feel. So this fear isn't about never truly existing. It's more about the quiet hope that the good parts of us, the love we gave, or the lessons we learned might somehow live on in the world, even in the smallest ways. Maybe it's not about being remembered by everyone, but by the people whose lives we touched. Like a stone dropped in a pond creates gentle waves that keep moving. Have you ever thought about what makes people truly happy? Maybe you imagine having all the latest gadgets, cool clothes, or endless snacks. It's easy to think that if you just had more money, life would be perfect, right? But here's a question that people have been asking for thousands of years. Can money actually buy happiness? When we talk about can money buy happiness, we're really asking if having lots of stuff or a big bank account leads to a deep, lasting feeling of joy and peace. It's not just about buying things, but about whether wealth fills the empty spaces inside us or solves our deepest worries. For a long time, thinkers from ancient Greece to modern times have explored this. Philosophers like Aristotle, for example, believed that true happiness wasn't found in external things like wealth, but in living a good life, full of purpose and virtue, doing the right thing, being a good friend, learning, and growing. They thought real joy came from inside, from how you lived and treated others, not from what you owned. Think about it this way. Getting a brand new video game console or a pair of sneakers feels amazing for a while. You're excited, you play for hours, and you show them off. But after a few weeks or months, that super excited feeling might fade, right? The console is still cool, but it doesn't give you the same thrill. Now, compare that to spending a really fun afternoon laughing with your best friends, or the warm feeling you get when you help someone who needs it. Those moments where you connect with people or make a difference often leave you with a quieter, deeper sense of happiness that lasts longer. It's a feeling of contentment, not just fleeting excitement from something new. So, while money can definitely make life easier and more comfortable, it can buy food, shelter, and opportunities. It seems it can't directly purchase that quiet, deep happiness. That kind of joy often comes from things money can't touch. Good relationships, feeling useful, learning, and finding meaning in your own unique way. Have you ever wondered if right and wrong are always clear? In movies, it seems simple. A hero, a villain, easy to cheer for. But in real life, those lines blur. They shift and fade, making choices much harder than they seem. Most of us want to do good. We aim to be fair, honest, and kind. But sometimes, these good things clash. Imagine your friend shows you a drawing they're proud of, but you honestly think it's not great. Is it right to tell the blunt truth and hurt their feelings? Or right to say something kind, even if not fully true, just to encourage them? This is where simple right versus wrong gets complicated. People have wrestled with these questions for thousands of years. Ancient Greek thinkers like Socrates spent their lives trying to define a good life. They knew what felt right in one situation might feel wrong in another. What one culture sees as normal, another might find strange. This shows these ideas aren't always fixed. They are shaped by our beliefs, feelings, and the world we live in. So, when the path isn't clear, it's okay to feel unsure. Thinking deeply about these choices, seeing different sides, that's where wisdom starts. It's not about finding a perfect answer, because sometimes there isn't one. It's about learning to walk through those gray areas with care, empathy, and a curious mind. That's a journey we all share. Have you ever felt like everyone else understood a secret joke you weren't told? Like you're watching a movie and everyone else is in it, but you're just sitting in the audience? This quiet sense of being on the outside looking in is what we mean by feeling like an outsider. It's deeper than just shyness. It's a quiet awareness that you might be different, or that you just don't quite connect with people the way they seem to connect with each other. It can feel lonely, even in a crowded room. People have thought about this for a very long time. Ancient thinkers and modern writers have explored this idea. Maybe deep down, we're all a little bit alone, even when we're together. Humans are social. We naturally want to belong, to feel accepted. So, when that doesn't happen, or when we just feel different, it can create a quiet ache. Some philosophers call this an existential feeling. It means it's part of simply being human, part of figuring out who you are in this big, complicated world. Think about being the new student in a class where everyone has known each other forever. Or maybe you're the only one of your friends who loves really old video games and no one else gets why they're cool. It's like everyone else is speaking a language you mostly understand, but you keep missing a few important words. Your brain actually feels this like a form of social discomfort, a signal that connection is missing. But here's the thing, this feeling isn't a sign something is wrong with you. Sometimes being on the outside gives you a clearer view. You get to see things from a different angle. Notice details others miss because they're too busy being part of the crowd. It can be a source of quiet strength. It can lead you to discover your own unique path or interest. This feeling, while sometimes hard, is part of the deep journey of understanding yourself and the world around you. Have you ever felt like life is just a blur, like the world is spinning too quickly and you're just trying to hold on? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Like you're running, but not really getting anywhere, and everything around you is a smudge of colors and sound. This feeling that the world is moving too fast isn't just about clocks ticking faster. It's about how much is thrown at us all the time. Information, tasks, expectations, and the constant feeling that there's always more to do. For most of human history, life was much, much slower. People woke with the sun and worked until it set. Their lives were tied to the seasons, to the planting and harvesting of food, to the slow journey of walking or riding a horse. There wasn't a rush to reply to a message, because messages took days or weeks to travel. This doesn't mean life was easy, but the pace was different. Think about it. Ancient Greek thinkers like Plato or Aristotle had long hours just to think, to walk, to observe the world around them. They had space for quiet reflection. Then, things started to speed up. When trains were invented, suddenly distances shrank. Factories needed people to work on a schedule, a clock. Time became a strict measure, not just a flow. And now, with phones and the internet, information flies around the globe in an instant. We can be connected to everything, everywhere, all at once. This incredible speed can make us feel like we need to be just as fast, always productive, always responding. It's like trying to watch a deep, meaningful movie on fast forward. You see the images, but you miss the details, the emotions, the quiet moments that make the story real. So, when the world feels like it's racing ahead, it's not a sign that you're falling behind. It's often a sign that your mind and spirit are asking for a moment to catch up. Taking a breath, looking closely at one small thing, or just allowing yourself to be still for a moment can help slow that fast forward button. It allows you to truly see the picture, not just the blur. Do you ever lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, and your mind just races? You think about everything that could go wrong. What if I fail that test? What if I say the wrong thing to my friend? What if I try something new and completely mess it up? This feeling, this big what if, is about worrying so much about making a mistake that you imagine the absolute worst possible outcome. It's like your mind is painting a super dark picture of the future, even before anything has happened. It's a deep fear of failure, the idea that one wrong step could unravel everything. This isn't a new feeling. People have wondered about this for thousands of years. Thinkers from long ago, like the ancient Greek Stoics, thought a lot about this kind of worry. They basically said, hey, you can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you react to it. They believe that worrying about things outside your control just makes you feel bad and takes away your peace. Their idea was that true strength comes from focusing only on what's in your power, your choices, your effort, and your attitude. Imagine you're building a tower with blocks, and you're worried about it falling. You might get so scared of it falling that you stop building, or you only use the easiest, safest blocks. But here's what happens. Every time a tower falls, you learn something. Maybe you needed a stronger base, or different shaped blocks. A scientist doesn't just get it right on the first try. They learn from experiments that don't work. That's how they discover new things. So, here's what matters. Making mistakes is actually a huge part of learning and growing. It's not an end to your story, but often it's just a turn in the road. Even when things don't go as planned, there's always a chance to learn, to pick up the pieces, and to start building again. Maybe even better this time. Have you ever just sat still, really still, and felt a little awkward? Like you should be doing something, anything, instead of just being. In our busy world, it often feels like we always need to be productive, always moving, always achieving. But what if there's a deep, quiet strength in simply doing nothing? This isn't about being lazy or avoiding your responsibilities. Far from it. Doing nothing here means giving your mind and spirit a chance to rest, to breathe, to simply exist without a task or a goal. It's about stepping away from the constant noise and demand for action. It's like pressing a pause button on your life, not to stop it, but to truly observe it, to let your thoughts drift and settle. For thousands of years, wise people have understood this idea. Ancient thinkers, from Greek philosophers like the Stoics to Eastern meditators, knew that stillness was a path to clarity. They weren't just sitting around because they had nothing to do. They were actively seeking wisdom in quiet moments. They believed that when your mind isn't busy solving problems or processing information, it has room to wander, to connect ideas in new ways, and to sort itself out. Think about it like this. Your brain is always working, even when you're not thinking about homework or chores. It's like a super powerful computer that's always running programs. Sometimes, to work better, it needs to defragment or just go into a low power mode. That's what happens when you let yourself just stare out the window or take a quiet walk without your phone or simply lie down and let your mind drift. You're not wasting time. You're giving your brain a chance to organize thoughts, process emotions, and recharge. It's in these quiet moments that creativity can spark or a solution to a problem might suddenly appear. So, the next time you feel the urge to just sit and be, embrace it. It's not a weakness. It's a quiet, profound strength. It's a moment to connect with yourself, to find peace, and to discover the simple, gentle wisdom that only stillness can offer. It's about realizing that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply allow yourself to be. Have you ever played a really intense video game or a challenging sport and wondered, is life kind of like this? This idea that our lives are like a big game has been around for a long time. It means thinking about life as having rules, goals, challenges, and even ways to win or lose. But it's not always about beating someone else. Sometimes it's more about the journey itself, the skills you pick up, and the choices you make. Ancient Greek thinkers, like the Stoics, saw life as a series of tests or challenges you had to play through with wisdom and inner strength. They believed the important part wasn't the score, but how you reacted to things, staying calm and thoughtful no matter what happened. Later, some Eastern ideas talked about the world as a kind of play or dance. Not something super serious to win, but something to experience fully and joyfully, where everything unfolds naturally. Think about playing a sport like basketball. You learn the rules. You practice your dribbling and shooting. You work with your team, and you face opponents. Sometimes you make a great shot. Sometimes you miss. Sometimes your team wins. Sometimes it loses. But every time you play, you learn something new, you get better, and you understand more about working with others. Life can feel a lot like that. We learn skills, we connect with people, we face tough situations, and we keep going, even when things don't go exactly our way. So, if life is a game, what kind of game is it? And who decides the rules? Maybe the real point isn't just to score points or reach an ending. Maybe it's about how we play the game each day. It could be about finding joy in the effort, building strong relationships, and learning from every step. Perhaps the most important win isn't a trophy, but the person we become, the kindness we share, and the deep meaning we find just by being here, playing our part in this amazing, strange game of life. Have you ever just looked up at the night sky or maybe watched a tiny bug crawl across the sidewalk and felt a sudden huge question pop into your head like, what's it all about? Or why am I even here? That feeling, that deep wondering is at the heart of what we're talking about. Here's the thing. Humans are special in a way. We don't just live, eat, and sleep. We also think about living, eating, and sleeping. We think about the past and we imagine the future. We can understand that someday everything will end, even us. This awareness, this knowing that we exist and that our time is limited, is why we ask such big questions. A squirrel bearing nuts doesn't wonder about its purpose, it just acts. But we do. For thousands of years, people have felt this way. Back in ancient Greece, long before smartphones or even cars, thinkers like Socrates told people, know yourself. He meant really look inside and understand your own mind and place in the world. And in many old stories and religions from around the globe, you find people trying to figure out what happens after life or why the world was made. It shows this deep need to understand has always been part of us, a natural human curiosity. Think about it like this. Imagine you're playing a video game, but suddenly you can pause the game and ask, why am I even playing this? What's the point of these levels? Is there an end? Most characters in the game just keep going, following their programming. But you, the player, can step back and question the whole setup. That's a bit like our human experience. We're in the game of life, but we can also stop and ask the really big questions about it. So when these feelings come, know that it's not weird. It's actually a sign of how amazing your brain is. It means you're thinking deeply, connecting with a part of being human that has been there since the very beginning. It's a quiet invitation to wonder, to learn, and to grow. Have you ever felt like you had to act a certain way, or like a different person, just to fit in? Maybe at school, or with friends, or even online? It's a common feeling, this push and pull between who you are and who you think others want you to be. That feeling points to one of life's biggest challenges, truly being yourself. So, what does it really mean to be yourself? It means listening to your own thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, and then acting in a way that's honest to those inner voices. It's about letting your true personality shine through, even when it feels a little scary or different. This idea isn't new. Thousands of years ago, wise thinkers like the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates encouraged people to know thyself. He believed understanding your own values and character was super important. But here's the thing, knowing yourself is one part and showing yourself is another. Sometimes it feels easier to blend in, doesn't it? Think about a chameleon. It changes its skin color to match its surroundings, helping it hide. Humans can do something similar, changing our colors, our behaviors, or opinions to match the group we're with. Maybe you pretend to like a band your friends love, or you hide a hobby because you worry others might not think it's cool. But what happens when you spend too much time pretending? It can feel heavy, like carrying a backpack full of rocks that aren't yours. The truth is, embracing who you are is a journey. It takes courage to stand tall in your own unique way, to follow your own path even when it's different from everyone else's. It's about discovering your own voice and trusting that it matters. And that's why it matters so much. Because when you are truly yourself, you find a deep sense of calm and a real connection to the world around you. Have you ever felt truly at home, not just in a building, but within a group of people, or even a particular idea? It's a quiet, powerful feeling, isn't it? That deep sense of being connected, of being seen and understood for who you really are. This feeling of belonging is a core part of being human. Simply put, belonging is when you feel accepted and valued by others. It means you're part of something larger than yourself, a family, a group of friends, a team, or even a whole community. You don't have to pretend or hide parts of yourself. You can just be you. Think about early humans way back in time. They lived in small tribes or groups. Being part of that group was necessary for survival. Alone, finding food, staying safe, and building shelter was incredibly hard. So, from the very beginning, humans have been wired to seek out groups. Many thinkers, going all the way back to ancient Greece, like the philosopher Aristotle, describe humans as social animals. He meant we naturally want to live in communities and connect with others. It's built into us. So, when you join a school play and everyone works together, sharing ideas and helping each other learn lines, you feel that connection. Or maybe it's with your family, around the dinner table, sharing stories and laughter. Your unique voice, your talents, they are welcomed and make the whole group stronger. This feeling isn't about being exactly like everyone else. Instead, it's about finding a place where your differences are appreciated. It's a warm, steady anchor in a changing world. A quiet reminder that you are not alone and that you matter right where you are. Have you ever wondered why even when things are tough, we still try to look for the good, or why it sometimes feels so hard to keep believing in better days. That quiet feeling, the inner battle to stay positive when the world feels heavy, that's the struggle to stay hopeful. It's wanting things to be okay deep down, even when they don't seem like they will be. It's a fundamental part of being human, a gentle whisper against uncertainty. Long ago, in ancient Greek stories, people talked about hope as the last thing left in Pandora's box after all the bad things flew out. This idea suggests that even when everything seems lost, hope remains a tiny, persistent flame. Philosophers, people who think big thoughts, also saw hope as more than just a wish. They understood it as an active choice, a way to keep going even when you're unsure of the outcome. For them, hope was a quiet strength, a light that guides us. Think about when you're working on a really difficult math problem, or maybe trying to learn a new skill like playing an instrument, and you just can't seem to get it right. You might feel frustrated, like giving up, but then something deep inside you, a tiny spark, says, just one more try. That little push, that belief you can do it, even when it feels impossible, that's a small piece of hope working within you. It's the gentle pull towards a better outcome. So here's the thing. Staying hopeful isn't about pretending everything is perfect or that bad things don't happen. It's about facing the messy, confusing parts of life and still choosing to believe in what's possible in kindness, in growth, in new beginnings. It's a quiet strength that helps us keep moving, even on the cloudiest, most uncertain days. Hope is the gentle engine that truly keeps us going, helping us look for the light, even when it feels dim. Have you ever looked at your phone, scrolling social media, seeing what everyone else is doing, and felt a strange loneliness? Even surrounded by digital friends, something can feel missing. This is a big question. With all our online ways, are we truly feeling more connected or less? Being too connected means our minds are always buzzing. We get constant pings and notifications. It's like 100 tiny strings pulling at your attention. This endless stream makes it hard to focus, relax, or even hear your own thoughts. But not connected enough means that even with these digital links, we might miss deep, real talks. We might not get enough quiet moments with family or face-to-face laughs with a best friend. For thousands of years, people lived in small groups. Their connections were physical, direct. They knew neighbors, worked, shared stories. Community meant being together. Even as towns grew, connection was mostly about sharing space. Then came technologies like the telephone, and now the internet. Each made it easier to reach people far away. Philosophers always said humans need belonging, real bonds, friendships where you truly see and support each other, not just quick messages. Think about a huge, disorganized library. Millions of books, connections, but hard to find the one you need. Now imagine just a few special books on your desk that you love and understand deeply. That's the difference. You might have 1,000 followers online, but when truly sad, one good friend listening means so much more. So the question isn't just how many connections we have. It's about what kind they are. Do they make us feel truly seen, heard, and cared for? Or do they mostly add noise? Maybe true connection means sometimes looking up from our screens. It means choosing quality over quantity and finding what truly nourishes our hearts. Have you ever felt like you're carrying a heavy backpack even when nothing physical is there? Like a worry or a past mistake that just sticks with you? Sometimes we hold on to worries, hurts, or plans that didn't work out. It can feel impossible to put them down. This feeling brings us to the art of letting go. It's not about giving up, not at all. Think of it more like opening your hand after holding something really tight. It's about accepting what is, especially things you can't change. It means releasing the need to control every outcome. It's about realizing some things are simply beyond your grasp, and that's okay. People have thought about this for thousands of years. Ancient Greek thinkers like the Stoics found peace in knowing what they could control, their thoughts, and what they couldn't, other people's opinions. They taught that worrying about what you couldn't change only hurt you. And in Eastern ideas like Buddhism, non-attachment is key. It means enjoying life without clinging too tightly to experiences because everything changes. Imagine you're trying to catch a ball, but it's made of smoke. The harder you grab it, the more it slips away. But if you let it be, it might just flow around you. Letting go is a bit like that. It's not ignoring problems. It's understanding some battles aren't fought with force. Instead, you accept the smoke. Then you're free to look for something solid or just enjoy the clear air. So, when we talk about letting go, it's about finding a sense of peace, even when things are messy. It's about being brave enough to trust that life will still move forward, even if you're not steering every single second. It can be hard, but it's a path to feeling lighter, freer, and more ready for what comes next. Have you ever worked super hard on something, given it everything you had, but still felt like it wasn't quite good enough? Maybe it was a big project for school, or trying out for a team, or even just helping a friend. There's this quiet worry that whispers, what if all my effort, all my strength, isn't actually enough to reach my goal? This feeling, this question, hits deep because it touches on what we value, our effort, our dreams. It's about putting your whole self into something and wondering if that self is capable enough for the world's challenges. It's not just about failing. It's about the fear that your own limits might be the barrier, even when you push them as far as they can go. Thinkers throughout history have wondered about this. The ancient Greeks, for example, talked a lot about human excellence and striving, but they also understood that sometimes things are just beyond our control. The Stoics, another group of old philosophers, believed we should focus on what's inside our control, like our effort, our attitude, our choices. They said the outcome often isn't up to us, and it's okay to let go of that worry. So, the best you can give is about your trying, not just the final score. Imagine you're trying to build the tallest possible tower out of building blocks. You carefully pick each block, stack them perfectly, balance everything you can. You try every trick you know, but then a tiny earthquake or your little sibling shakes the table and it wobbles and falls. You did your absolute best, but an outside force changed the result. The value wasn't just in the standing tower, but in how thoughtfully you built it, how much you learned about balance and structure, and how you problem solved along the way. So, when that thought creeps in, what if my best isn't enough? Remember that your best is about the journey, the effort, the learning. It's about showing up and giving your all. And sometimes, that truly is enough, even if the world doesn't always line up with your hopes. The real strength isn't just in achieving, but in knowing you gave it everything you had, no matter what happens next. Have you ever stopped to wonder why people sometimes hurt each other? It's a tough question, and it's one humans have asked for a very long time. Often, when someone causes pain to another, it isn't because they are simply bad. Instead, it's often because they are struggling with something inside themselves. Maybe they feel scared, or alone, or misunderstood. Think of it like this. Sometimes, when we lash out, it's because we feel a pain ourselves. A person's hurtful words or actions can often come from a place of their own quiet struggle. This idea isn't new. Great thinkers, even thousands of years ago, noticed this. They wondered why we sometimes act in ways that seem wrong. Many believed it often comes from not understanding others, or even from our own fears and insecurities. It's like someone building a wall around themselves to feel safe, but that wall ends up hurting others who try to get close. For some, it might be a misunderstanding of what truly makes life good, leading them to chase things that don't satisfy them, which then causes harm. Imagine a friend says something unkind to you. It might seem like they're just trying to be mean, but what if, earlier that day, something upsetting happened to them? Maybe they're carrying a heavy feeling inside. Their unkind words are not truly about you, but about their own difficult feelings bubbling over. It's like a chain reaction. One person's pain can ripple outwards, sometimes unintentionally affecting others around them. Understanding this doesn't make the hurt okay, and it certainly doesn't excuse unkind actions, but it helps us see a deeper truth. It reminds us that behind the anger or meanness, there's often a hidden story, a quiet struggle. And perhaps, if we can learn to look for that hidden story, we can choose to react not with more anger, but with a deeper sense of understanding and even a quiet hope for healing. Have you ever sat quietly, wondering about a different path you could have taken? Or imagine how things might be if you'd made a different choice today? That quiet feeling, that gentle pull towards something that isn't quite real yet, that's the whispers of what could be. Here's the thing, it's about the other versions of your life, those that exist only in your mind. It's about dreams you haven't chased, roads you didn't turn down, or even simple what-if moments. These aren't sad thoughts, but soft echoes of possibility. They are potential futures, sometimes felt strongly. For a long time, people have thought about this idea. Ancient thinkers wondered if our lives were planned out, or if we truly had free choice. This old question about fate versus our own will shows we've always felt this. We sense our lives could unfold in many ways, like branches from a tree. Think about choosing clothes in the morning. You pick a shirt, but for a moment you also thought about wearing the other one. That brief thought of the other shirt is a whisper. Or imagine how a tiny particle in science can be in two places at once until we look. Life is a bit like that, holding those could-be options until one becomes real. These whispers aren't there to make us regret choices. Instead, they gently remind us how vast and open life can be. They tell us we are surrounded by possibilities and that even small choices can lead to unique journeys. It makes us wonder, but also helps us appreciate the path we are on, knowing there's much more to discover, finding peace in chaos. Have you ever felt overwhelmed, like your brain is trying to remember a million things at once? That feeling when things are crazy and loud is a kind of chaos. Finding peace in chaos means learning to be calm and steady even when the world around you feels messy or overwhelming. It's not about stopping the chaos, but finding a quiet place inside yourself. This idea isn't new. People have sought this for thousands of years. Ancient Stoics, for example, believed you can't control what happens to you, only how you react. They might say, the wind might blow hard, but I can choose to be like a strong tree that bends but doesn't break. Many Eastern philosophies, like Buddhism, also teach that true peace is found by staying present, focusing on one moment at a time, right here, amidst all the noise. Here's what I mean. Imagine you're trying to focus on homework in a noisy house. Your sibling is talking loudly, your phone buzzing. That's chaos. But you can choose to take a breath, focus on one sentence, then the next. You're not trying to stop the noise. You're choosing to focus on your task. That small act of focus, even for a moment, is finding peace. So it's about paying attention to what you can control, your own mind, your own breath. It's about remembering that even when everything seems to be spinning, there's a quiet center within you that can stay still. It's a gentle reminder that peace isn't just about a calm environment. It's a calm you carry inside, ready for whatever comes your way. Have you ever felt that quiet ache inside when something you really hoped for or worked hard on just didn't go as planned? It's a feeling we all know, a moment when our path seems to vanish. And in that moment, it's easy to think, this is it, this is the end. But here's the thing, failure in the grand sweep of our lives is rarely a true ending. Instead, think of it more like a sharp turn in a road or a crucial pause in a song. It's a chance to stop, to breathe, and to see things you might have missed when you were rushing forward. It's a moment that asks us to learn, to adapt, to try again, but maybe in a new way. Throughout history, some of the people we admire most faced huge setbacks. Thomas Edison, who gave us the light bulb, famously tried thousands of times before he found a way that worked. He didn't see those attempts as failures. He saw them as steps, as learning what didn't work. And J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, her book was turned down by many publishers before it became a worldwide phenomenon. Imagine if she had given up after those rejections. Old philosophers, like the Stoics, believed that difficulties were not curses, but opportunities. They taught that our strength isn't shown when everything is easy, but when we face challenges and choose how to react. It's about building resilience, like a tree growing stronger roots in a storm. So, when things don't go your way, remember that your story is still being written. Failure is not a period at the end of a sentence. It's more like an exclamation mark, maybe a question mark, inviting you to think differently, to grow, and to discover just how truly strong and capable you are. It's a quiet promise that there's always a next step, a new beginning waiting. Have you ever gotten that new video game or that cool pair of shoes, and for a little while, you were really happy? But then, after a week or two, did you start looking for the next thing? This quiet urge inside us, this feeling, is what we call the constant need for more. It's not just about basic needs like food or shelter. It's about always wanting something beyond what we already have, even when we have a lot. For a long time, thinkers and wise people noticed this same pattern. For instance, in ancient Greece, philosophers like Aristotle talked about how we always try to find happiness, but it often feels just out of reach, making us chase more. And in some Eastern ideas like Buddhism, they teach that a lot of our unhappiness comes from this endless wanting. It's a craving for things to be different or better. They saw how wanting more could mean always looking, never feeling calm. Think of it like this. Imagine you're collecting something like cool stickers or points in a game. You get one, and for a moment, it feels great. But then, your eyes drift to the next one, the rarer one, the harder one to get. It's like our minds have a little more button, always pushing us. This feeling is a powerful engine. So, is this constant need bad? Not always. It can push us to learn, to grow, to create amazing things, or to invent new ways to help people. But here's the thing. Sometimes, it also stops us from truly enjoying what we already have. It makes us wonder if real happiness comes from getting more, or from learning to be okay with what's right in front of us right now. It's a gentle thought to consider. Have you ever stopped and truly asked yourself, who am I turning into? It's a big question, not just about what job you'll have later on. It's about the person you're slowly, steadily growing to be deep inside. We aren't fixed statues. We are more like constantly changing rivers or growing trees. Every thought you have, every choice you make, every word you say, they all add up. They shape who you are at your very core. This idea of becoming has puzzled people for thousands of years. Long ago, thinkers in ancient Greece, like the philosopher Socrates, believed that knowing yourself was really important. They felt that if you understood yourself, you could become a better person. It wasn't just about school smarts. It was about understanding your own spirit and character. Today, philosophers still talk about how our everyday choices build our identity. It's like being an artist, and the artwork is you. You choose the colors, the strokes. Over time, your unique picture emerges. Think about a small seed. It doesn't just become a tree overnight. It grows slowly, day by day, pulling water and sunlight. It changes its shape bit by bit. Each tiny root, each new leaf, helps it become the strong tree it's meant to be. Our own lives are a lot like that. If you choose patience when something is hard, you are slowly becoming a more patient person. If you choose to learn something new, you are becoming someone who values knowledge. So, this question isn't about finding a perfect answer right now. It's an invitation to pay attention. It's about realizing you have a quiet, powerful hand in shaping the person you are becoming. It happens one small decision at a time. It's a journey, and you are the guide. Have you ever scrolled through your phone, looking at all the headlines, and felt a strange heaviness, like your mind was getting full? This is a feeling many of us share, the burden of too much news. This means when we're constantly surrounded by updates, tragedies, and problems, it can weigh us down. Our brains can only process so much. Hearing about sad or difficult things nonstop makes it easy to feel overwhelmed or anxious. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose when you only need a glass of water. For most of human history, people only knew what happened nearby. News traveled slowly, often by word of mouth. When the printing press was invented, more people could read about things happening further away. But news still came in batches, like a weekly newspaper. Today, with the internet and social media, news arrives every second. It's instant, global, and endless. Old philosophers often talked about guarding your mind, choosing carefully what thoughts you let in. They understood that our inner peace depends on what we focus on, even without cell phones. Think about it. If you try to listen to 10 different conversations at once, you won't really understand any. Your brain gets fuzzy. The same happens when we're constantly bombarded by news. Our minds can feel overloaded, making it hard to think clearly or feel calm. So, it's not just about staying informed, it's also about protecting our own well-being. Sometimes, the bravest thing we can do is simply step away, let our minds breathe. Remember, it's okay to not know every single thing happening. Every second, our minds need quiet, just like our bodies need rest. Have you ever stopped to wonder if your life isn't just a list of days, but something more, like a grand story? Do you ever feel like you're the main character in your own unfolding tale? This idea that our lives have a story is a very old one, deeply rooted in how humans think. It's not just about what happens to us, but how we make sense of those events, how they connect, and what they mean for who we are. Think way back to ancient Greece, where thinkers explored plays and poems. They saw that a good story wasn't just random scenes. It had a clear beginning, middle, and end. Things happen for a reason, leading to other things, showing how characters grew and changed. They taught us that stories help us understand our world by giving structure to chaos. Today, people who study the mind, like psychologists, agree. They say we naturally try to organize our memories and experiences into a personal narrative. It's how we build our identity. When you share something that happened to you, like a challenging moment or a big success, you're not just stating facts. You're shaping your story, choosing what to highlight, how it fits, and what lesson you learned. Imagine your favorite album or a music playlist you've put together. Each song is a separate moment, a different mood. But when you listen to the whole thing, the songs flow into each other, creating a unique feeling, a bigger picture that's all yours. That playlist tells a story about you at that time, even without words. Your life is kind of like that. Each experience is a song, but how they come together makes your unique soundtrack. So, yes, your life absolutely has a story. And here's the wonderful part. You're both the writer and the main character. Every day, every choice, every small moment adds another sentence, another paragraph to your own unique book. It's a story that's still being written, full of adventure, learning, and growth. And that's a beautiful thought to hold on to. Voiceover. Have you ever felt a quiet little whisper inside you, wondering if your life will be just okay? Not amazing, not famous, not even super unique, but simply ordinary. This is the quiet fear of being ordinary. It's not a loud, screaming panic, but a soft, almost hidden worry. It's the thought that maybe you won't stand out, that your path might look like everyone else's, or that you might not leave a big mark on the world. For centuries, people have thought about what makes a good life. Ancient Greek thinkers, like those in Athens, talked about striving for excellence, not about being famous, but about being the best version of yourself, living fully and virtuously. But as time went on, especially in our modern world, we started to focus more on individual success and standing out. Social media and constant news stories show us only the highlights of others' lives, making ordinary seem less valuable. Think about your social media feeds. You see friends posting incredible vacation photos, or winning big awards, or showing off amazing talents. And sometimes you might look at your own day, maybe just doing homework, walking the dog, or hanging out at home, and a little thought pops up. Is this enough? Am I doing enough? But here's a deep secret. Being ordinary can be incredibly powerful. Many wise thinkers have reminded us that true joy often comes from the simple, everyday moments. It's in a good conversation with a friend, a quiet walk in nature, or the satisfaction of finishing a task well. The pressure to be extraordinary all the time can actually steal our peace. Maybe the bravest thing we can do is find beauty and meaning in our very real, very human, ordinary lives. Perhaps that's where true richness lies. Have you ever stopped to really think about what it means to be successful? Maybe you picture someone with a big house, a fancy car, or a famous job. That's what many people think of when they hear the word. But here's the thing, that's just one way to look at it. For centuries, people have wrestled with this idea. Is success about how much money you have, or is it about something else entirely? Think about it this way. What if success isn't just about what you get, but about who you become? In ancient Greece, a very smart thinker named Aristotle talked about eudaimonia. It's a big word, but it basically means living a good life, a flourishing life, filled with purpose and happiness. For him, true success wasn't about being rich. It was about being a good person, using your talents well, and contributing to your community. So a wise leader or a kind neighbor could be seen as successful, even if they weren't wealthy. Today, our world often pushes a different idea of success, tying it to grades, social media likes, or reaching the top. But imagine a tree. Is its success just about how tall it grows? Or is it also about how deep its roots go, how strong its branches are, how much shade it provides, or how many birds nest in its leaves? A tree's real success is in its whole being, its ability to thrive and give back. So maybe true success is like that tree. It's not just about reaching some far-off goal. It's about growing, learning, being kind, finding joy in small moments, and feeling good about who you are. It's a quiet feeling inside, a sense of peace and purpose that no amount of money or fame can truly buy. Have you ever felt two different things at once about the same future event? Like when you're waiting for a test grade, or trying out for a team, you might feel a rush of excitement, picturing success, feeling really good about what's to come. But right beside that, a quiet worry might sneak in. What if it doesn't work out? What if I fail? That's the dance between hope and doubt. Hope is that bright, forward-looking feeling, a belief that good things are possible. It's the light that makes us want to try. Doubt, on the other hand, is the shadow, the feeling of uncertainty, asking, "Are you sure?" It can make us hesitate. But here's the thing, they often walk hand in hand. For thousands of years, people have known this feeling. Ancient thinkers, long before modern times, understood that life is rarely certain. They saw that we often face choices without knowing the exact outcome. They knew that both courage, fueled by hope, and caution, informed by doubt, were important for navigating life. This is a very old human experience, as old as wondering what tomorrow will bring. Think about a scientist working on a new discovery. They spend years hoping their theory is correct, dreaming of a breakthrough. That's massive hope. But they also constantly doubt their own work, testing every idea, looking for flaws. That doubt pushes them to be better, to find the truth. The doubt doesn't stop the hope, it makes the discovery stronger if it proves true. So this dance isn't a weakness, it's a natural part of living. It shows we care about outcomes, and it helps us think carefully. Embracing both hope and doubt means understanding that life holds both possibilities and unknowns, and that's okay. It's part of what makes us curious, strong, and deeply human. Have you ever found yourself smiling even when your heart felt a little heavy? Maybe someone asked how you were, and you just said, "Great," even if you weren't. This feeling, this act of showing happiness when we don't truly feel it, is something many of us do. It's like putting on a kind of costume for the world. We pretend to be happy for lots of reasons. Sometimes it's to protect our true feelings, to keep our worries private. Other times, it's because we think it's what society expects. A happy person is often seen as a successful or normal person. Philosophers and thinkers for centuries have looked at this idea of how we present ourselves. The ancient Greeks had a word, persona, which meant the mask worn by actors in plays. In a way, we all have different personas we wear in different situations. At school, with friends, at home, we might show slightly different versions of ourselves. This isn't always a bad thing. It helps us navigate the world. But here's the thing. Sometimes the mask gets stuck or it becomes too heavy to carry. Think about social media. Scrolling through feeds, everyone often looks like they're having the best time, always smiling, always on an adventure. But that perfect picture doesn't always show the quiet struggles or worries behind the screen. It's like a highlights reel, not the full movie. So why do we keep this act up? Maybe because it feels safer. But carrying the weight of pretend happiness can be tiring. It's a reminder that beneath all our roles and outward smiles, there's a real, complex person. And understanding that it's okay to not be okay and to let a few people see that real person can be a great relief. Have you ever stopped to think about how every small thing you decide today actually starts to build the path you'll walk tomorrow? It's kind of a big idea, but also super simple. We're talking about the heavy feeling that comes with knowing our choices, big or small, don't just disappear. They stick around and create our future. Here's the thing. Every time you pick one option over another, you're not just making a quick decision. You're actually setting something in motion. It's like dropping a pebble into a pond. The pebble is your choice, and the ripples spread out, touching everything around it long after the pebble has sunk. That's how our choices work. For a very long time, people have thought deeply about this. Ancient thinkers, like the Greek philosophers, wondered about something called free will. That's the idea that we actually have the power to choose for ourselves, that our lives aren't just a script already written. They believe that even though we can't control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond and the choices we make. This idea gives us a lot of power, but it also comes with responsibility. Think about something simple, like deciding whether to spend an extra hour playing a video game or working on a school project. That choice, right in that moment, seems small. But if you choose the project, you might get a better grade, which could make you feel more confident, which could make you want to try harder in other subjects. It's a chain reaction. So while the idea of our choices carrying weight can feel a little heavy, it's also a powerful thought. It means we're not just passengers in our own lives. We are the ones holding the steering wheel. And that's a pretty amazing thing to realize. It means our future is not just something that happens to us, but something we actively help create, one choice at a time. Have you ever felt completely free? Like truly, without any limits or anyone telling you what to do or think? What does that even mean, really? We often imagine freedom as doing whatever we want, whenever we want. No school, no chores, just pure choice. But is that kind of freedom actually possible? Or is it more complex than that? Thinkers and philosophers, for thousands of years, have wondered about this very question. From ancient Greek thinkers like Plato, who talked about different kinds of freedom, to later thinkers who explored our rights and choices. They asked if we're truly free to choose, or if our choices are shaped by things like our environment, our genes, or even just our feelings. They wondered if we are truly independent or if we are always connected to something bigger. Here's the thing. Imagine you want to stay up all night playing video games. You feel free to choose that, right? But then your eyes get tired, or your parents tell you to go to bed, or maybe you know you have a test tomorrow. Even simple choices have boundaries. Or think about a bird flying. It's free to soar, but it can't fly to the moon, and it still needs to find food. Its freedom exists within certain natural laws. So, maybe true freedom isn't about having no limits at all. Perhaps it's about understanding the limits we have and making the best, most thoughtful choices within them. It's about the freedom to choose our attitude, how we react to things, and what we decide to learn or believe, even when other things are out of our control. The idea of perfect freedom might be a dream, but the freedom to choose who we are and how we live within our world is something we can always explore. It's a journey, not just a simple answer. What happens when the world goes completely silent around you? No music, no talking, just quiet. It sounds peaceful, right? But sometimes that silence can feel really loud. It's not the sound of nothing that's loud. It's everything else that suddenly becomes clear. It's your own thoughts, your worries, your feelings, all rushing forward because there's nothing external to listen to. It's like your mind decides it's finally its turn to speak, and it has a lot to say. For a long time, people have thought about silence. Ancient thinkers, like the Greek philosophers, believed that really deep thoughts often came when things were quiet. They'd go to calm places, like a quiet garden or a mountaintop, just to think. Even monks or people seeking wisdom would spend years in silence, trying to understand themselves and the world better. But here's the thing, they weren't always looking for easy peace. Sometimes they were wrestling with the noisy parts of their own minds, the parts we often try to ignore by keeping busy or constantly surrounded by sound. Think about when you're trying to fall asleep. All day, you might have your phone buzzing, music playing, or friends keeping your mind busy. But when everything goes dark and quiet, suddenly every thought you had during the day pops up. That silly thing you said, a test coming up, a friendship worry. It's like your brain finally has space to unpack everything. And sometimes that unpacking feels like a big, noisy mess. Or maybe you're sitting alone in your room and you turn off all the screens. For a moment, it feels strange, almost empty. Then, those inner voices start. So, the loudness of silence isn't a bad thing, not really. It's a chance. It's your mind saying, hey, pay attention to me. It can be uncomfortable, sure, like trying to untangle a really messy knot. But facing that inner noise, even for a few minutes, can actually help you understand yourself a lot better. It's a quiet invitation to listen to the most important voice of all, your own. And in that listening, you might just find a deeper calm than you expected. Do you ever find your mind drifting when you're doing something simple, like walking to school or eating lunch? Maybe you're thinking about a test next week or something funny from yesterday. Our minds often jump around. That's just how they work. But when they're always somewhere else, we miss what's happening right now. Being present means truly living in this very moment. It means really seeing the colors outside, hearing sounds around you, feeling the ground under your feet. It's about paying attention to this exact second. Don't let your thoughts pull you into the past or push you into the future. Imagine standing in a beautiful garden. Instead of remembering last year's garden, you just enjoy the flowers blooming right in front of you. For thousands of years, wise people have talked about this idea. Ancient Buddhist monks taught mindfulness, being aware and present. In ancient Greece, thinkers like Epicurus spoke of finding happiness not in big goals, but in the simple joys of the current moment. They knew life isn't just tasks to get through. It's a collection of moments to truly experience. Think about eating your favorite snack. If you eat it fast while on your phone, you might barely notice the taste. But if you slow down, really look at it, smell it, Take a small bite and let the flavors arrive that's being present. You're not just eating, you're fully experiencing it. This practice can help you feel calmer and more connected. When we learn to be present, even for a few minutes daily, we notice small wonders around us. The sun's warmth, a bird's song, a quiet moment with a friend. These often missed moments hold much of life's simple joy, and that's why it matters. Life isn't lived in the what-ifs or if-onlys, but right here, right now. Have you ever had a moment that just clicked? A moment that felt different, even if it was something really simple? It's like the world pauses, and suddenly, you're fully there. You're not thinking about what happened yesterday or what's next. You're just in that feeling, that second. What makes it special isn't always something huge happening. It's often how we connect with it. It's our attention, our feelings, and how they mix with what's around us. A moment becomes special when we truly feel it, when our inner world lights up in response to the outer one. Think about people throughout history. They've always looked for meaning, for these bright spots in life. Ancient philosophers, like the Stoics, talked about focusing on what's right in front of you, being present. They believed that happiness wasn't about having lots of stuff, but about how you saw and felt the moments you had. Even way back then, people knew that paying attention could turn an ordinary day into something rich and full. They understood that the power to make a moment special often lay within themselves, not just in the event itself. It's not a new idea, it's an old wisdom. Imagine you're just sitting outside, maybe after school. The sun is setting, and the sky is turning all kinds of warm colors. You might have seen 100 sunsets before, but this time, maybe you really look at the clouds, really feel the cool air, and suddenly, it's not just a sunset. It's a peaceful, beautiful moment that stays with you. It's like when you're listening to a song you love, and you don't just hear the notes, you feel the beat in your chest and the words in your heart. The specialness comes from inside you, from how deeply you let that experience in. So, here's the thing. Special moments aren't rare treasures hidden away. They are everywhere, waiting for us to notice them. We help create them simply by being present, by truly feeling, and by letting our hearts connect with the world around us. It's about slowing down and letting the everyday become something truly wonderful, and that's why it matters. Have you ever looked at something you made, maybe a drawing, a story, or even just how you styled your hair and felt like it wasn't quite perfect? That feeling is part of what we call the struggle with imperfections. It's about how we deal with things that aren't flawless, things that have a tiny crack, a crooked line, or a moment when we mess up. It's about accepting that nothing, not even us, is ever truly without fault. For a long time, in ancient Greece, for example, people really admired perfection. Think of their statues perfectly smooth, perfectly balanced, ideal human forms. The idea was to strive for something flawless, something that couldn't be made better. But here's the thing, life isn't like a perfect statue. We are all more like a tree that grows toward the sun, bending and twisting in its own unique way. Its branches might not be perfectly straight, but that's what makes it beautiful and real. Imagine trying to bake cookies. Sometimes, one cookie might come out a little misshapen or a little browner on one side, but that doesn't mean it tastes bad, does it? In fact, sometimes those imperfect ones are the most memorable, the ones with a story. In psychology, they even have a concept called the beauty of brokenness, which suggests that our struggles and scars actually make us unique and stronger, not weaker. It's like how a kintsugi artist in Japan repairs broken pottery with gold. The cracks don't disappear. They become part of the beauty, highlighted, and celebrated. So, maybe the struggle isn't about getting rid of every single flaw. Maybe it's about learning to see the quiet strength in our own unique edges, the places where we've bent but didn't break. It's about understanding that our imperfections aren't roadblocks. They're often the very things that make us and everything around us truly ourselves. And that's a pretty powerful idea. Have you ever noticed how suddenly everyone seems to be doing the same thing, wearing the same style, or listening to the same song? One day, it's not a big deal, and the next, it's everywhere. And maybe, just maybe, you start to feel a little pull to join in, even if you weren't interested before. This feeling, this urge to like what others like, is a really interesting part of being human. It's about more than just wanting new things. It's a deep-seated desire to belong. Think about it. For thousands of years, humans lived in small groups. Being part of the group, following the common ways, often meant safety and survival. If everyone in your village knew how to find food or build a shelter, you learned too. It was a way to fit in and be protected. So, this idea of looking to others for what's good or right is kind of built into us. Philosophers, people who think deeply about life, have talked for ages about how we are social creatures. We need each other, and sometimes that need makes us want to be like each other. It's like when a new game becomes super popular at school. Maybe you've never heard of it, but then all your friends are talking about it, sharing tips, and suddenly you feel a strong urge to download it and play along. You want to be part of the conversations, to share the experience. It feels good to be connected. But here's the thing. While wanting to belong is natural, it's also worth pausing. When we chase what's popular, are we doing it because we genuinely love it, or just because everyone else does? There's a quiet strength in asking yourself that question. It's okay to enjoy popular things, but it's also okay to like something completely different, something only you appreciate. Finding what truly resonates with you, not just a crowd, is a gentle way to understand who you are. Have you ever had a thought, a feeling, or something truly important you wanted to say, but for some reason, the words just stayed stuck inside? That heavy feeling, that quiet regret you might carry around? That's what we call the ache of unspoken words. It's the deep, sometimes silent, sadness or burden that comes from holding back truths, feelings, or ideas that long to be expressed. Imagine you have a beautiful melody forming in your mind, but you never hum it, never share it with anyone. Over time, that unheard song can start to feel a little sad inside you, a missed opportunity for connection. For centuries, thinkers and poets across different cultures have explored this very human experience. Ancient philosophers, from the wise minds of Greece to those in the East, often pointed to the importance of knowing oneself, and just as crucially, the courage to express those inner truths. Consider characters in stories like Shakespeare's Hamlet, who struggle deeply because they cannot or will not voice their most important thoughts and feelings. Modern psychology also suggests that holding emotions in can sometimes lead to stress or a feeling of being weighed down. It's like a pressure building up inside when words are held back, like a balloon slowly inflating, ready to burst if not released. Think about a time you had a disagreement with a friend, and you really wanted to apologize or explain your side, but you just couldn't find the right words, or maybe you felt too shy. Later, you might feel a pang of regret, a lingering what-if feeling about how things could have been different. That's the ache. It's a part of our shared human journey, this quiet struggle between our rich inner world and our outward expression. So, this ache reminds us of how powerful our voices truly are. It shows us that what we keep inside doesn't just disappear, it sits with us. And sometimes, finding the courage to speak those words, even if they're difficult, can lighten that load and help us connect more truly with the world around us. It's about giving our inner world a chance to breathe and be understood. Have you ever paused and wondered, can I truly become a different person? This isn't about changing your clothes or your hairstyle. It's about altering the deeper parts of yourself, your habits, your beliefs, how you react to challenges, or even your core personality. Is that part of us fixed like a stone, or is it more like water, constantly flowing and able to shift its course? This idea has puzzled thinkers for thousands of years. Ancient Greek philosophers like Heraclitus believed that everything is always in motion, like a river you can never step into twice. He meant that change is the only constant, so perhaps we too are always becoming something new. But then, otherwise, minds wondered if there's a true self within us that remains the same, no matter what we experience, a kind of unchanging blueprint. Think about someone who used to be incredibly shy. They might have dreaded speaking up in class. But over time, maybe they started by saying a little more in small groups, then joined a club, pushing their comfort zone bit by bit. They practiced, learned new ways to connect, and slowly, something shifted inside. They didn't just act confident, they began to be it. Their very way of being changed, like a quiet seed pushing through soil to bloom. So, can we really change? The journey is rarely easy, and it takes time, like shaping clay. But the idea that we can grow, adapt, and rewrite parts of our own story is truly powerful. It suggests that while our past shapes us, it doesn't define our future entirely. We hold within us the incredible capacity for change, for becoming something new, if we choose to tend that possibility with care. Have you ever felt like you're carrying something invisible from the past? like an old dream someone had for you, or even a picture you once held of yourself that just won't seem to go away. This feeling, this unseen weight, is what we call the shadow of past expectations. It's when ideas about who you should be, ideas from your parents, teachers, friends, or even a younger version of yourself still follow you around. They might not fit who you are anymore, but they still cast a long shadow on your choices and feelings today. Think of it like this. Maybe when you were little, everyone said you'd be a great doctor because you were good at science. But now, you're in 8th grade, and you love drawing comics, spending hours creating instead of thinking about biology. Yet, a part of you still feels that old pressure, that old idea of being a doctor. It's hard to let go of what others hoped for you, or what you once truly hoped for yourself. Philosophers, for a long time, have thought about how we become who we are. Ancient Greek thinkers, like Plato, discuss how our experiences and the world around us shape our understanding. Centuries later, people like John Locke explored how our minds are like blank slates at birth, getting filled with ideas and expectations from the world. So, from a young age, ideas about what we should be, what is right or successful, start getting written onto our slates. Sometimes, these ideas aren't truly ours, but what others valued. It's like a young tree in a garden. In its early years, it might have been bent a certain way by a strong wind, or trained to grow straight by a gardener. Even when the gardener's gone, or the wind changes direction, the tree still holds that shape. For us, the gardeners might be our family, our community, or even society's general ideas about happiness. Here's the thing. Those past ideas, those shadows, don't have to define your present or your future. It takes strength to look at them, to understand where they came from, and then decide if they still fit who you are today. You get to decide who you are becoming right now, in this moment. Your path is yours to create, not just to follow lines drawn long ago. When you hear the word brave, what comes to mind? Maybe a knight fighting a dragon, or a superhero saving the day. But here's the thing. Bravery isn't always about big, loud acts. Often, it's much quieter. It's about facing something difficult, even when your heart is pounding and you'd rather run away. Bravery isn't the absence of fear. It's acting even with fear, making a choice to move forward. Think about the old Greek thinkers, like a philosopher named Aristotle. He talked about bravery not as being fearless, but as finding a balance. He said a brave person isn't someone who rushes into danger without thinking that's just reckless. And they're not someone who runs from every challenge that's cowardly. Instead, being brave means understanding the danger, feeling the fear, but choosing to do what's right or necessary anyway. It's a choice you make, often when no one else is watching you. For example, imagine you have to give a presentation in front of your class. Your stomach might feel fluttery, your palms might get sweaty. That's fear. But when you walk up to the front anyway, take a deep breath, and start talking, that's bravery. It's doing the hard thing because it matters, or because it's part of growing. Or maybe it's admitting you made a mistake, even when it's embarrassing or makes you feel small. That also takes a lot of guts. So, bravery isn't just for heroes and stories. It lives in the small, everyday moments of our lives. It's that inner strength that helps us push through discomfort. It's choosing to be honest, to try again after failing, or to stand up for what you believe in, even when it feels scary. It's a quiet courage that helps you be you, fully and truly. Have you ever paused before sharing an idea or picked an outfit you didn't really love, just because you worried what someone else might say or think? That quiet voice inside, whispering doubts about how you'll be seen, that's the fear of what others think. It's a powerful feeling that can hold us back, often without us even noticing. This feeling, also called the fear of judgment, is simply our worry about how other people will react to us. Will they approve? Will they laugh? Will they think we're weird? Here's the thing. Humans are social creatures. For ages, our survival depended on being part of a group. Our brains developed a system to check if we fit in. This isn't new. Even ancient thinkers understood how much we cared about how others saw us. It's a very old, very human worry. But sometimes that fear of judgment goes too far. It can become a heavy shadow, stopping us from being truly ourselves. Think of a deep-sea diver. They can only explore so much if they're always looking back, worried about how they move. Their true adventure is limited. When we're always checking how we appear to others, we miss out on discovering the amazing depths of our own thoughts, ideas, and unique selves. So, Maybe the challenge isn't to stop caring completely because connecting with others is important, but to choose courage. It's about learning to listen to that inner voice that tells us who we truly are, even when the world outside suggests otherwise. It's a gentle journey, learning to trust ourselves more than the imagined opinions of others. Have you ever wondered if all the screens we look at, all the apps we use, are actually making our brains sharper? It's a big question, right? When we say smarter, what do we really mean? Is it knowing more facts, thinking more deeply, or being better at solving new problems? For thousands of years, humans have used tools to help them think and remember. Imagine ancient scribes writing down stories. Before writing, people had to memorize everything. Later, a huge invention, the printing press, changed everything. Books could be made quickly, spreading knowledge. More people could learn without memorizing every detail. Some wise thinkers, like the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, worried that writing might make people forget their own memory. But instead, writing helped us build on old ideas, creating new ones faster. Today, our tools are even more powerful. We have search engines and AI assistants that find information in seconds. Need a fact for school? Instantly there. This is amazing for getting information quickly. But here's the thing. Does knowing where to find an answer mean we truly understand it deeply? Think about using a super fast calculator. You get the right answer instantly. But does that mean you understand how to do the math in your head or why the answer is correct? Sometimes, this ease might make our own thinking muscles a little lazy if we don't also practice them. Technology gives us incredible power. It helps us access huge amounts of information. But real wisdom maybe isn't just about what we know, it's about how we use that knowledge. It's about how we question things and how we learn to think for ourselves, even when the answers aren't just a click away. It's about remembering that these powerful tools are there to help us grow, not to do all the growing for us. Have you ever felt like you had ideas bubbling inside you, thoughts you wanted to share, but they just couldn't quite find their way out? It's a common feeling, that whisper of something important within you that longs to be heard. Finding your voice isn't just about speaking louder or talking more. It's about understanding what you truly believe, what makes you uniquely you. It's discovering your own special way of seeing the world and then having the quiet courage to share that truth. For a long time in history, people were often expected to just fit in. You followed the rules, you did what your family did, and you believed what everyone around you believed. But then, smart thinkers like the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, who lived over 2,000 years ago, started to ask big questions. He famously encouraged people to know thyself, meaning to deeply understand who you are, your own thoughts, and your own values. He believed that by asking lots of questions and thinking deeply, you could figure out your own truths, not just accept what others told you. That idea of looking inside for your own answers was a huge step towards valuing individual voices. It was a quiet revolution, teaching us to listen to that inner wisdom. Think of it like tuning a radio. All around us are invisible waves carrying music and voices, but until you turn the dial and find the right frequency, you might only hear static. Finding your voice is like tuning into your own unique frequency. Suddenly, the static clears, and your own clear signal comes through. It's a powerful moment when your inner thoughts and feelings can finally be expressed clearly and truly. And when that happens, there's a peaceful feeling that settles over you. It's a quiet joy knowing that you are truly being yourself. It's not about shouting or demanding attention. It's a calm, powerful sense of being real, of standing firmly in who you are and letting that truth simply shine. It's a gentle strength, a quiet knowing that you are exactly who you are meant to be. Have you ever looked at a simple choice like what to wear or what to eat and suddenly made it feel like the biggest decision ever? Your mind might start running through 1,000 what-ifs, making what should be easy feel completely tangled. Here's the thing, humans often add extra layers to life, turning plain paths into winding ones. This isn't always on purpose. Sometimes our minds try to see every possible future, every tiny outcome. It's like our brain constantly searches for the perfect solution, even when a good one is right there. This can lead to overthinking, where we get stuck, spinning worries that aren't even real yet. Ancient thinkers, like some Greek philosophers, talked a lot about this. They valued living simply, focusing only on what truly mattered. They believed a calm mind came from not chasing too many desires or worrying about things you couldn't control. Imagine life hundreds of years ago. Fewer things, fewer choices. Life was simpler because there weren't so many options. Today, our world overflows with choices, and our brains can get truly overwhelmed. It's like a school project. The goal is clear, write a report. But then you start thinking about the perfect font, the best pictures, what everyone else is doing, if your grade will be good. Soon, the simple task of writing feels like climbing a mountain. You make it harder, not because the report is hard, but because your thoughts create the challenge. So, why this human habit? Perhaps it's a deep urge to understand everything or to feel totally prepared. But often, the most peaceful paths are the straightest. And sometimes, the deepest wisdom is just letting things be easy. It's a quiet thought. True peace might come from untangling the knots we tie ourselves. Have you ever felt like a single puzzle piece, searching for the perfect spot where you click right in? Or perhaps you've wondered if you truly belong in a group. This quiet, deep feeling is part of a common human journey, the search for a place to fit. A place to fit isn't just a physical spot. It's about finding a sense of belonging. It's that warm feeling you get with people who truly understand you or doing something that makes you feel completely yourself. It's like finally coming home, feeling accepted and valued exactly as you are. This idea isn't new. For thousands of years, thinkers have explored how important it is for humans to connect. Ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle called us social animals, meaning we're naturally wired to live in groups. Our ancestors survived by sticking together in tribes, finding safety and strength in belonging. This deep need to find our people or our place is actually built into us. Imagine a single violin in an orchestra. It makes beautiful music alone, but playing with all the other instruments, the cellos, flutes, drum set, becomes part of something much bigger, a complete symphony. Each instrument finds its full purpose, creating a harmony none could achieve alone. We are a bit like that violin, always looking for our unique part in the world's grand song. This search can sometimes feel lonely or confusing, but it's okay to be on this journey. Fitting in isn't always about changing yourself. It's about finding spaces and people where you naturally shine. Often, we find many smaller, comforting spots along the way, each teaching us more about who we are. Have you ever tried to explain something really important to you, but the person listening just didn't get it? It's a strange, lonely feeling, isn't it? Like you're speaking a language only you understand. This feeling of being misunderstood is a big part of what it means to be human. It's not just about someone hearing the wrong word. It's about your inside world, your thoughts, feelings, and intentions not matching what someone else thinks or believes about you. Think about it like this. Your mind is like a unique radio station, constantly broadcasting your thoughts and feelings. But sometimes, other people's radios are tuned to a slightly different frequency. So, even if you're broadcasting clearly, they might pick up static or a different song entirely. This idea that we all have our own inner worlds and see things differently has puzzled thinkers for thousands of years. Ancient Greek philosophers like Plato explored this. He had this famous idea about people living in a cave, only ever seeing shadows of real things. They thought those shadows were reality. It's a bit like how we often see only parts of another person, or they only see parts of us. And sometimes we mistake those parts for the whole truth. So when your friend misinterprets your text message, or an adult thinks you mean one thing when you clearly meant another, it's not always because someone isn't listening. It's because our minds work in unique ways. We each filter information through our own experiences, memories, and emotions. This struggle to truly get each other reminds us of a few things. First, it reminds us to be patient, both with ourselves and with others. It's okay if not everyone understands you perfectly all the time. And second, it shows us how incredibly unique and special each person's way of seeing the world really is. Maybe the point isn't to always be perfectly understood, but to keep trying to connect, knowing that even in our differences, there's something beautiful and real. Have you ever looked back at something that happened, maybe something tough, or something totally unexpected, and wondered if it was all part of a bigger plan? This is a question many people ponder. The idea is that nothing is truly random. Instead, every event, every choice, every moment is somehow connected, leading to something else, like pieces of a huge, invisible puzzle. It suggests there's a hidden purpose or a lesson woven into the fabric of life, even in the parts that feel messy or unfair. For a very long time, humans have tried to make sense of this. The ancient Greeks, for example, often talked about fate, a powerful, inescapable force that decided what would happen. It was like a script written out, and everyone was just playing their part. Later, many religious traditions and thinkers believed in something called a divine plan, where a higher power guides everything, ensuring there's meaning behind every joy and every sorrow. Believing this can be a comfort, making us feel less alone or that even difficult times have a reason, perhaps to teach us something important or to lead us to a better place. Here's the thing. Think about a time you missed a bus or train and it felt like a disaster. But then, because you were late, you ran into an old friend, or you stumbled upon a cool new cafe you never would have found. Was missing that bus meant to be? Or did you simply find a new path because of a small change in your routine? This question isn't about finding one right answer. Instead, it invites us to think about how we see our lives. Do we believe in a grand, pre-written story where every event has its place? Or do we see life as a series of moments where we create meaning as we go, choosing how we respond to what happens? Sometimes, believing things happen for a reason can give us hope and peace. Other times, simply accepting that life unfolds and we have the power to make our own meaning from it feels just as powerful. Have you ever scrolled through your phone, looking at what others are doing and suddenly felt a little bit less? Maybe you saw someone's perfect vacation pictures or their amazing sports win or just how cool their life seemed. And then, without even trying, you might have started comparing yourself to them. This feeling, this constant looking at others and measuring ourselves against them, is what we call the endless cycle of comparison. It's a quiet hum in the background of modern life. Here's the thing, comparing ourselves to others isn't a new problem. People have been doing it for thousands of years, long before screens and social media. Think about it. Even in ancient times, people probably looked at their neighbor's bigger hut, or their faster horse, or their prettier pottery, and felt a pang of envy or a sense of not being good enough. Philosophers, people who spent their lives thinking deeply about life, often talked about how our happiness shouldn't depend on what others have. They knew that if your joy comes from having more than someone else, then you'll always be worried about someone else having more than you. It's a road that never really ends. Today, this cycle feels faster and bigger than ever because of social media. It's like a highlight reel of everyone's best moments, not their real, messy lives. When you see only the polished parts, it's easy to forget that everyone has struggles and hidden chapters. It's like looking at just one page of a huge, complicated book and thinking you know the whole story. But here's what I found. True happiness doesn't come from being better than someone else. It comes from knowing who you are and what you care about, and working on your own story. Your journey is yours alone, unique and important, and it doesn't need to look like anyone else's. Why some moments from your past feel so incredibly vivid, almost like they happened yesterday, while others just fade away? It's a curious thing how our minds hold on to certain experiences and let others slip. Here's the thing. A memory isn't just a simple snapshot. It's more like our brain has a special filing system. But not everything gets filed the same way. The memories that stick around often have a strong feeling attached to them. They carry an emotional weight. For a long time, thinkers have been curious about how our minds hold on to things. Even ancient Greek philosophers, like Aristotle, thought about this. They didn't have brain scans, but they understood that repeating something helped us learn. And they also sensed that things we cared about or things that surprised us tended to stay in our minds longer. It wasn't just about seeing something, it was about the kind of experience it was. Think about the first time you rode a bike without training wheels, or a time you laughed so hard your stomach hurt. Those moments usually stick, right? That's because our brains tag them with a special importance label. Scientists today understand that when we have a strong emotional experience, our brain actually releases chemicals. These chemicals help glue that memory in place more firmly, making it less likely to vanish. So, a lasting memory isn't just about remembering facts. It's about the whole experience, the feelings, maybe a smell, a sound, or a thought, all mixed together. The more senses and emotions involved, the deeper the mark it leaves on us. This means the moments that truly become a part of our story are often the ones that made us feel something big. They aren't just old events. They are parts of who we are, shaped by emotion and experience. Have you ever looked out at a forest or seen a picture of the ocean and felt a quiet, tiny whisper of worry? It's not a loud fear, like being scared of a test. It's more like a low hum, a gentle ache, wondering about the future of our home, Earth. This feeling, this quiet worry about the planet, is something many people experience. It's a mix of sadness, concern, and maybe a touch of helplessness when we think about things like climate change, pollution, or animals losing their homes. For a very long time, humans mostly saw nature as something huge and unending. People live within nature's rules, respecting its power. They didn't really think they could change the whole planet. But here's what happened. Over hundreds of years, especially as we built cities and invented machines, we started affecting the Earth in bigger ways. Think about the Industrial Revolution, when factories began to fill the air with smoke. That's when the idea of humans having a huge impact really started to grow. So now, our worry isn't just about surviving in nature, it's about what we are doing to nature. You might feel this worry when you see plastic bags stuck in trees, or hear about droughts making places super dry, or see news about powerful storms. It's that little pang you get, like when you see a beloved park you used to play in looking a bit less vibrant. It's like knowing your favorite snack is almost gone, but on a much, much bigger scale. This feeling, though it can seem heavy, also shows something important. You care. It means you are connected to the world around you. And that's a powerful thing. Recognizing this quiet worry isn't about giving up or feeling overwhelmed. It's about understanding a shared human experience, a gentle reminder of our place on this amazing planet, and the deep, quiet hope that we can all help protect it. Have you ever stopped to think about how much control you truly have over your own path? It's a deep question, isn't it? One moment, we might feel completely in charge, choosing what to eat for breakfast or which video game to play. But then, something unexpected happens. A sudden storm changes your outdoor plans, a friend moves away, or a big decision is made for your family that you didn't see coming. So, how much of our lives is truly up to us? When we talk about controlling our lives, we often mean having the power to make our own choices and direct our future. It's about free will, the idea that we are the masters of our own destiny. But people have wondered about this for thousands of years. Ancient Greek thinkers, for example, often debated if everything that happens is already fated or destined to occur, or if our choices truly matter. They wondered if we were just actors reading a script that was already written, or if we were writing the script ourselves, scene by scene. Here's the thing. It's a bit like being the captain of a small boat. You can decide where to steer, how fast to go, and which direction to face. That's your control. You can plan your journey, but you can't control the ocean currents, the strength of the wind, or a sudden unexpected storm. Those are forces much bigger than your boat. In life, we make countless choices every day: what to study, how to react to a problem, who to spend our time with. These are the moments when we take the helm. But then, there are also the storms and currents things, like where we are born, the family we have, big world events, or even just random accidents. These things shape our lives in ways we can't always predict or prevent. So, while we absolutely have the power to make choices and guide our own journey, a part of wisdom is also understanding that not everything is within our command. True strength might come from knowing what we can steer and when to simply ride the waves with courage and adaptability, finding our way forward even when the seas are rough. Have you ever finished something big? Maybe you just finished a major test, or finally beat that tough level in a video game. For a moment, there's this feeling of accomplishment, right? Phew, I did it. But then, almost immediately, another thought might whisper, okay, so what next? This simple question, what next, is actually a huge idea. It's a big, deep question humans have asked for thousands of years. It's about the future, about things never being truly finished, and the endless choices we face. It's the feeling that life keeps moving, and we're always stepping onto the next path, even if we don't know exactly where it leads. Think about ancient people looking at the changing seasons. The summer ends, the leaves fall, winter arrives. What next, they might have wondered. Will the sun return? Will the crops grow again? They understood this constant flow, this never-ending cycle. Philosophers, people who spent their lives thinking deeply about life, also wrestled with this. They knew that even when you reach a goal, another one often appears. The ancient Greek thinker Socrates believed that asking questions was key, and what next is exactly that, a question that pushes us forward. Here's how it works daily. You finish a book. What next? You pick up another. You finish middle school. What next? High school, new friends, new challenges. Even in science, an answer to one question often creates 5 new ones. It's like discovering a new room with 10 new doors inside it. So this question, what next, isn't something to be afraid of. It's actually a gentle reminder that life is a journey, not a destination. It's an invitation to curiosity, a quiet nudge that there's always more to learn, more to experience, and more to discover about ourselves. It means we get to keep choosing, keep growing, and keep wondering about amazing things just beyond today. It's a quiet hope for what comes next.